Hey, good evening, everybody. Sorry I'm a little late, but as you know, I had a show going on just before this one, and it's a little hard jumping between studios. But we're here, and it's Thursday night. It's another CAF update, and got a lot of things to cover tonight. So, and we're going to get started off with a Heritage preview because Heritage has their international signature auction that starts on Friday, goes through Sunday. And I've got Joe Manarino in the studio with me today to get us started. So I'm just going to bring Joe in and see how he's doing. Hey, Joe, it's been a while. Nice to have you back.
Hey, how you doing, Bill?
Cannot complain. I can't complain. You know, it's always busy around here, but it's always a good kind of busy. So, you know, I mean, how about you? Are you guys getting settled in over there?
Yeah, I mean, if you could still, I had hoped to blur out the background, but that wasn't working. But we're still moving in. It's a big house and it's a big job, but it's okay. It's okay.
I do understand. Yeah, you know, I'm in the same boat. We had a art get together here a few weekends ago, and it forced us to essentially unpack everything. But the places we put some things aren't very pretty. Like my bedroom it's got boxes along the walls, but the main area where we had to have company looks great. So that
Yeah,
was good. But
yeah.
I understand what that's like. So let's see. So we're talking about the auction. It starts on Friday, and this is an international auction. So it has it's got some U.S. artwork in it, but it's also got a lot of European artwork in it. It's got some animation artwork. It's eclectic when you compare it to a regular Heritage signature auction.
Yeah, that's the
And
reason
I mean,
that we have it over there. The collectors have a little
yeah.
bit different bent. I think we've talked about it before. At one
Hmm.
point, 90% or whatever of the art and the books being sold in Europe and around the world were American. And then as it became more and more popular, they began to develop their own titles, their own artists, their own genres. And next thing you know, they've got their own market. So even though a vast amount of collectors still collect U.S. art because it was reprinted there, they also collect their own art. And then, of course, you expand it into Asia and the manga and how incredibly popular that's become. Hey, Nick. Uh, then you got a worldwide market that's just really churning.
Now you kind of helped. I think you were kind of one of the early people trying to get the international auction going. But they have a Heritage now has a presence in Europe, I guess, too. And so they're. I mean, I assume probably the whole team works on pulling together lots for this auction.
Well, Nadia and I began the international sale, I don't know,
Hmm.
5, 6 years ago, whatever it was. And
Yeah.
then, we quickly found that we needed someone there to be there full time. Heritage has a division in the Netherlands, and now they have a great office in Belgium. So we hired Olivier Delphas, who is a CAF member, a very active member of the community, but
Hmm.
he's like the perfect guy. He lives in Belgium. He speaks three languages. He speaks English, Dutch, French. He can also get by in like German and other things. He's centrally located. He could travel. He's well connected and he knows the stuff. I mean, he is a passionate collector. So I was hoping to have him on the air, but we also do in for the international sale, we do a preview in Paris at G9 Gallery, who we partner with over there. That people might know Bernard Mahe, and Bernard, of course, is one of the biggest collectors in the world, and he's got this great gallery. So we bring the highlights from Belgium to Paris, and they have previews, and they had one today. I mean, Olivier was going to be on, but it's 3 o'clock in the morning over there, so it makes it difficult.
That's true. We should have him record a statement
Yeah.
next time. He could that might be the only way we'll be able to get them on. Usually I have to do a Saturday or a Sunday afternoon show to get people in Europe to want to participate. But that's all right though. I mean, but I knew that you and Nadia had kind of originated this. I mean, there was a question from somebody in the audience, Knights of Old wanted to know. He said, this auction has the most manga pages I've seen from Heritage. Has there been participation from Japan, or is it mostly originated from the EU and the USA? As far as people who are consigning, is it still just coming out of US and Europe more than anywhere?
Well, we've also been getting Hong Kong, Asia, believe it or not, other parts of Europe that we don't normally see things come out of. And we sold. We had gotten Astro Boy page a couple of years ago. Back in the beginning, and then that kind of opened the doors to everything else. Olivier is a very big fan of Dragon Ball and things like that, so he's very, very acquainted with the animation and the so he picked up a huge collection of art. I mean, we'll touch. This is going to be a little bit different than what you just did. I know you just went through a pretty rapid fire preview and everything else. We'll try and just do maybe an overview. We're not trying to, there's 800 lots in this sale, so we're certainly not going to get through that. So I just wanted to.
But I'll leave a link in the chat for everybody. And I know a lot of people have previewed it before. We've talked about it a few times on the CAF update. Just some of the pieces that are out there. So yeah, no, there's a lot of great stuff, and we can start looking at them right now if you like.
Sure.
Let's see here. So, I mean, everybody's curious about this one and where it's going to end up. Of course, I mean, you don't get to see phenomenal Miller Daredevil, covers from this era. The cover to 185 is awesome. I mean, they're always sublime in their own way, right? But this is such a memorable image from the Daredevil run, even though it's kind of later in Miller's period with it, but just a fantastic image.
Yeah, I mean, I might be wrong, but I think this is the earliest cover that we've ever offered at Heritage. And Nadia and I sold this cover through All Star years ago. So I hadn't seen it for years. And then it turned back up again. A really dramatic image. I really like this the storyline from this issue, which is, Heather's company's making bombs, and it causes them. They bring in Foggy to investigate why, and next thing you know is they run into the Kingpin. So you've got the Kingpin story arc again coming into Daredevil and Miller, and then this is a cover where an explosion occurs behind Daredevil in the story, and he's being thrust forward. Pretty innovative idea. I love the silhouette. I love the drama, and then of course this affects his senses, and he can't use his power, so it heightens the tension and the drama. Jansen did a masterful job with the inks here. So and it really is kind of a harbinger of, if you look at the position of the stick and everything else, of where Miller's style is going to be going down the road a little bit, And like you said, They don't turn up. And back then, it sold for a significant amount of money. I mean, if I had to guess, I would have said in the $60,000 worth. I mean, it's already at $82,500 with the premium. You're at $100,000 already. So but this is a great cover.
Agreed. Yeah, no, it's really fantastic, and it's gone through your hands once before when you were running All Star. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Oh, that's right. Hergé.
Yeah. We're just going to do a little back and forth, I think. U.S. art, European art, maybe that's the way I put this up. It just coincidentally that this is also the second highest. This one, just a little bit more maybe background information for people not as familiar. I mean, Hergé is the king of European comic artists. I mean, he started back in 1929, and that's when Tintin first appeared. Speaking of when we did the auctions, we actually, Nadia and I auctioned the first Tintin cover ever, and that sold for over $1 million years ago. So the most expensive comic artwork in the world for years was Hergé Tintin art. Tintin unpublished variation on one of the album covers sold for over 3.2 million euros. So that's over $3.5 million at the time. His art is very rare because he was so popular so quickly that he made a lot of money, and he never had the need to sell any of his artwork. And it was always in his mind to start a foundation or an institution, and all of his art was donated and is in the Hergé Museum in Belgium. So, any Tintin art is extremely rare, and especially what is like. There's only probably, I think he did 29 total albums. They ran in installments in the largest French newspaper, Belgium newspaper, and then at the end of the installments, they would immediately do a book. So he would create new covers for the book, and then the interiors were reprints of what were in the newspapers. So this book was The Crab and the Golden Claws, and it's one of the most popular stories. And if you're familiar with the storyline, the Captain Haddock, who is the person on the second camel, becomes his friend and companion on all of his journeys, and he's a perfect foil for, Tintin is the eternal optimist. He sees everything positive, and Haddock is the guy that's suspicious of everything, the cynic, and he's the perfect counterbalance to Tintin. This story was his first appearance. So, since these covers are all in the museum, this particular story ran from 1940 to 41, and then the album came out. I think I sent you a picture of what the album cover would look like. And in 1961, the same publisher, Casterman, decided to put out a coloring book for kids. Mm-hmm. And they took some classic Tintin images, and then they asked him to redraw this cover without a lot of the detail, these little things in the background, and with the shadows not being colored in so that it could be colored in. So this is basically a redraw of that cover, but published in 1961, and it's as close as we're going to get to a Tintin cover. So compared mm-hmm. to the millions of dollars that it would go for if it was the original published cover, this one is very desirable, drawn by Hergé, and authenticated by the museum, which is really the authentication committee for the works of Hergé, and the certificate is included with it. You can, when you examine it, you could see the pencils underneath, you could see the work underneath, so there's no question that it's an original and not somebody else redrawing it or a stat.
Sure. No, you don't see too much of his work ever.
This is a very big deal. That's the kind of thing they're excited about.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's but that's good for you guys. I mean, it brings a certain collector base to the auction that is going to get turned on to other things that are in there as well. But I mean, clearly this is an important piece for collectors who are looking for a good example from Hergé.
And we have another couple of pieces of Hergé in the sale, so that I don't think we're going to cover them here, but you could look up, and they're varying degrees.
Hmm.
Here's a great little Nemo, Winsor McCay. Again, everybody knows Europeans love classic strip art, especially McCay, um, and they don't love it any more than Americans do, but it's just something that has a global appeal. So here you have a real fun Nemo, a lot of panels, and it's something everybody can relate to. They Flip and Nemo find this little boy who's absolute great at throwing snowballs, and each panel has him throwing at people going by. So he knocks the hat off somebody, he hits the poor dog, sends them flying. He goes on, and then inevitably, the law shows up and the police come after them. So in this particular episode, he's very happy to be waking up.
That's funny. So, question for you: when you're putting the international auction together, I mean, what really, because it's a mix of U.S. and European and international artwork. I mean, what defines putting those pieces in the international auction? Is it the consigners? Is it, how do you determine which pieces? Like that, for instance, just like the Daredevil cover. Why wouldn't that, for instance, be in the April U.S. Heritage Signature Auction?
It's a combination of things. A lot of times, it's the timing. What if it's a European consigner and the next auction is going to be a European auction, and you can be maybe the bigger fish in a slightly smaller pond? Why not? And
Right.
that Frank Miller in Europe is just as popular as he is here. In fact,
Exactly.
probably the two biggest Miller collectors, aside from say a David Mandel, are in Europe. And so those people know that, and they want to be exposed to that. Sometimes we have, like in the case of Little Nemo, we might have three Nemos consigned at one
Hmm.
time. We'll put one in an American, one in the European, because that's the next one coming up, and then one in another American. And then if it's something that it's an estate or something else, and Olivier's gone and found the collection and gotten it, yeah, it's going to be in his sale. Now, if he thinks that there's things in a collection that would do better in a U.S. sale, we will certainly put them in the U.S. sale. So we're always the consigner always has the priority, and
Hmm.
we're on their team and trying to get them the absolute best realized price.
That
But
makes
that's a good
sense.
question.
Now, this one's a really nice one. Romita Senior, Amazing Spider-Man 69. Great images of Kingpin and Spidey battling. I mean, what more can you ask for, right?
Yeah, you got a nice splash panel at the top. Both of them in action, fighting the classic bull rush from the Kingpin, and Spidey trying to avoid those mutton hands. And it's just a great page. It's a great period. It's very early. Again, speaking of the Kingpin, who went on to become also Daredevil's, uh, you know, big enemy, and continuing on with the TV series. Um, yeah, he's become one of the most popular villains. There's no doubt about it. And Mooney did a great job inking that. I mean, that's a good job. I mean, that's a Ramita type inking job.
It is. Yeah, it really is. And
Yeah,
I
and
love the way he's done the costume there. Obviously reversed. I mean, it's something we're used to seeing, but I mean, it's done so well. I mean, I love Romita Senior from this period. You can see the
yeah,
scratching in the ink here for some of the shading techniques and everything. I mean, yeah, and just with his fist coming through. I mean, that's cool. I mean, you like to see that
yeah.
kind of technique in a Romita Senior piece because he's so well known for that. Yeah, I like this one a lot.
Yeah. It's a good page. No, I mean that would look beautiful on the wall. That's my criteria for things like that.
All right. Now we got an Astro Boy piece here.
Yeah. So again, a little background information. The father, person considered the father of Japanese manga, the Walt Disney of Japan, is Osuma Tezuka, and he's Tezuka, I should say. He did all the early works. Astro Boy was the most popular. In 1963, it quickly got picked up as a TV, animated show. It became instantly the top show in Japan, and then was picked up in America, ran in America, and was super popular. This is an interesting. There's a heritage in Japan where they had artists that would create illustrations and then set up and then show the illustration and then explain the scene. It's called kamishi bai. Excuse my pronunciation, but that's what they would do, and they would hand color it and create a little scene so that you could imagine this is shown, and then you tell them, the kids what it's about and everything else. This was used for that. So art, again, from that period and from Astro, extremely rare, extremely valuable, extremely sought after. So this is, color. It's not animation. It's full color. It's by the artist, and it's a beautiful piece.
Is that right? 63 is what it's from? 1963?
Yeah.
Wow. 60 years old. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Kazra says it's easier to find gold-plated hen's teeth than a Tezuka. And that's probably true.
Yeah. I mean, they have a whole group of Bill Wattersons over there, from Hergé to Asterix to Tezuka. I mean, there's a very different, America never adopted the residuals that they get in Europe. Everything is treated as a book, so you get a percentage of sales. So if you have something that's extremely popular, you make a lot of money really, really quick. So that gives people an opportunity. Later, we're going to talk about, another manga artist, and the numbers are staggering. Like 300 million copies sold. I mean, that's, there's staggering numbers. Not
right.
We look at, 1 million, 2 million, whatever it was, as the top, but 300 million copies.
Incredibly popular. Yeah. No, it's not the same here in the US when compared to abroad. That's for sure.
You get the royalties.
Okay, so back to the US here. We got a Vilsienkiewicz Elektra Assassin page.
I put that in at this point because, again, I'm flip-flopping, but Frank Miller, extremely popular, very hot right now. Sienkiewicz is very hot right now. Elektra Assassin, right after, Miller did the Dark Knight Returns. He comes back to Marvel. He writes the story arc for Elektra Assassin. They get Bill Sienkiewicz. And this is just when Bill is really, launching the whole abstract painting page look, where he's working more, it's color. He's using visual cues to push the story forward. And then that becomes his style moving forward, and people have really learned to appreciate it. It took a while. I mean, these pages weren't expensive years ago, but now it's there.
Yeah, no, deservedly so too. But I agree. Like when I first started collecting, you could still get Sienkiewicz pretty affordably. But the wise people picked up a lot of it too. Unfortunately, I wasn't one
Yeah.
of those guys.
Yeah, 8-part miniseries during that whole period where one miniseries after the other was coming out, and they were just
Hmm.
incredibly impactful on the industry.
Very true.
Then we go to Jean Giraud, or Moebius, as he is known when he's doing sci-fi. And this is from The Airtight Garage, which is one of his most famous stories. I mean, some people um, feel this is like the ultimate Moebius story, and to find a page from that story is very rare. Um, uh, for those, again, just a little education. I mean, he started out doing Barry, which was a western and historical kind of thing, and then at some point wanted to shift and didn't want people to you know go crazy, so he came up with a different name, and he had a completely different style, and it's sci-fi. In Europe, there's a handful, especially in their version of heavy metal. Sci-fi became incredibly popular in the early '70s, even just before Star Wars came in, and then after Star Wars came in, it really exploded. And these stories that were in their heavy metal magazine were very influential on a ton of Hollywood people later on. So, you just don't find these pages. Um, this is the second image of Jerry Cornelius, a key character in the story. It's based on the character of the punk rock singer. The look of the character is based on Smith. Uh, I mean, there's all sorts of great things around it. The panel, one of the panels was used for the Morbius collector cards. Uh, it was later published, even though it was originally published in the French heavy metal magazine, which was the precursor of our heavy metal. It was later published in '87 by Marvel in their Epic line.
Well, it's the yeah. I have a few friends who collect Mobius, and and this is the era that everybody wants. I mean, the mid '70s is Metal Hurlant work, Airtight Garage. I mean, this is they can at least the collectors I know, they prefer this to his later work. So, and you
Yeah,
can see why.
I mean, listen, I'll read the quote. The Airtight Garage is generally regarded as a Moebius masterpiece. According to journalist and art critic Chris Mautner, ranked it first on the list of essential Moebius works shortly after the artist's death in March of 2012. So, it's just not, and over there, his work is seen in much more of a fine art view than it is than we view comic art here. So again, people are familiar with his work.
Yeah, no, it's gorgeous. Nice to see too. I know you've had a few pieces in prior international auctions by him in the same kind of time period, and they always do really well. I mean,
Oh
they
yeah,
and they should. They really should. So back over
he's
to
again. I mean, if you're gonna have a dean of comic art, of a little of more serious comic art,
mhm,
you have Hergé on this side, you have Moebius on this side, a handful of others.
makes
Here's
sense.
another Frank Miller. I put this one in because Frank Miller 300. That whole miniseries, every page was a double page spread, and all the time, as far as I know, we've only auctioned one piece from that series, and that was a cover, uh, which didn't really have as many distinctive characters in it. So this is rare. and it's very extremely popular, and it also again very a little bit more similar to his Sin City style.
Yeah, that's a beautiful page. This is something, if you had in your collection, you could stare at it every single day. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just gorgeous. It really
And
is.
it's a regular, this is full size. This is not
Yeah.
a small piece. Yeah.
Wow. No, and a lot of people know this was from a comic. I was talking to a neighbor here, and they knew 300 was from a comic. I was just surprised. I mean that it's a book that I think there's a lot of folks that know its origins. They, partially because of the movie and everything, but boy, he just did an amazing job with the work on this book. This is a beautiful page. At 16 and a half right now. Yeah, that's got room to go too.
Yeah. That's a good page.
Let's see. Now, this one, what is it? Vicente. I can't even do the last name.
Segrellis.
Segrellis? Okay.
Yeah. So we auctioned The Mercenary is this the name of this. We auctioned a page, the first page from this book, in one of our first sales in Europe, and it sold for an astounding $47,000 for an interior page. His art again is he kept almost all of his art. He never really offered it up. We're very lucky to have this. This is the cover of the book that we auctioned. And this is, again, published 1980. Every page is painted in oil. The series is known for the great attention paid in detail to the landscapes. It's 14 by 19 by and a half, and it's a beautifully done. And his depiction of women is legendary.
Well, I wrote his name down so I don't forget to do some research. Because I mean, I'm sure I've seen his artwork before, but yeah, I want to look at up some more stuff. It is gorgeous, and if it's
again
all oil,
another one of the deans of science fiction in Europe.
Mm-hmm. Well, I like discovering new artists here, so that's a nice page or a nice cover image. Now this is the Dragon Ball Z that you were talking about earlier, right? So
right.
Yeah, this is a very great image, and so I assume Olivier, had a little bit in getting these to you.
Yep, he got them for for his sale, and
yeah,
so we have a great selection. Again, this is by Akira Toriyama. And Dragon Balls, it's a franchise that he started in 1984. I'll give you the statistics. He did 519 individual chapters, and it was collected into 42 different volumes. It's one of the most successful manga and anime series of all times. The manga has sold in 40 different countries, the anime broadcast in 80 countries. The 42 collected volumes sold 160 million copies in Japan and 350 million copies worldwide. Just mind-blowing. And we've never sold, as far as I know, a page of original art.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't find it. So these are, where he oversaw this and everything else, as close as you're going to get. He's one of the people, prior to him coming on the scene in manga was more, like we said, with the Astro Boy and some of the other things, more kid oriented, more gentle, more serene. He took it to the whole new level and redefined manga.
That's it is a great piece. I mean, and I agree. I mean, I didn't follow Dragon Ball Z too much, but it was around you all the time. I mean, I know it was so popular. So I'm sure there's people in the audience who watched it religiously. But no, it's great. It's great to see too, because you just don't see too many pieces like this out there. It's like,
well, if you, I don't even know how we have in the sale. We probably, I mean, we might have 50 pieces, 50 animation pieces of all the different characters, different scenes, different episodes. So, and original backgrounds. This is before the days of reproduced backgrounds.
Mm-hmm. Very, very nice.
Yeah.
Back to something a little different. You got a Harriman Crazy Cat.
Yeah, I didn't want to do another strip art so soon, but you know, there's only a handful of you know, hand colored Crazy Cats that are completely hand colored, inscribed by George Harriman. He did this when he wanted to give someone a gift. This gag is about the first television, and you see them watch. Here's Officer Pup watching television, and they're watching it beforehand, and then this was gifted to the people who was one of the pioneers in broadcasting. So evidently Harriman knew him. So it's a beautiful Sunday page. It's got all the elements. You got the brick being thrown. You have the large panel at the end with Harriman, with Officer Pup escorting Ignatz to the jail. So you gotta, it's got it all.
It does. And my wife Maureen is giving me a hard time. She said that my kids watch Dragon Ball Z, and they've already spent time looking through the auction at the anime pieces at the auction. So I'm getting chided. See, well, that's usually, I probably got up from the table when Dragon Ball Z started. I didn't really watch a whole lot of it, but I knew it was on. I knew it was around me. So you can't.
Yeah, well,
I wasn't totally
unobservant. My time, but it's a worldwide phenomenon.
Yep.
And the prices are right now still reasonable for the animation. So I think it's a good opportunity.
Well, I like this Crazy Cat too. I've got a couple of like the collected works of Harriman, and I just love his stuff. I mean, never be able to own a Sunday like this. I'd love to get just a single panel illustration. I know that they're out there, but this piece is really nice, hand colored by him. Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean, there are Harriman specialty pieces that he does gifts for people. That's
right.
What you're talking about.
Those are the ones I've seen. Yeah,
exactly. But
they're not going to cost you the price of a car.
Yeah,
but I mean, they're hey, if you can't afford a Sunday, I'll take one of those in a heartbeat just to have an example of his work.
Absolutely.
Now this the Dell'Otto. I know this one. This is nice. I love Dell'Otto's work. I mean, he's just absolutely amazing. And you have a couple pieces in the auction by them, but yeah, this is a stunning piece.
Hey, Gabriele Dell'Otto, he's an Italian wonder. I got to meet him in Italy. I actually went there, and I don't remember if I picked something up or I dropped something off to him. Very nice guy, and extremely talented guy. The Europeans love him, and of course, it's interesting because what they love is his work done in the U.S. And there's no arguing with his talent. It's great. And we have several examples in the sale.
Yeah, I poked around earlier today, but yeah, I love this piece. So Kelly Goon saying, "Don't look. Nobody should like Dell'Otto." Yeah, that's unfortunately it's way past that, Kelly. There's a lot of fans of his work. And then I guess I wasn't sure if I had a. Oh, this was the other piece. This is the one you sent me right near the end of.
Yeah, I thought it was worth mentioning. Again, one of the deans of sci-fi in Europe is Jean-Claude Messier. Valerian was one of his classic, and this is the cover of issue number 1, and the City of Shifting Waters, which is considered one of his seminal works. So he again, he colored it. It's a masterful job. The detail, the work that they put in. What people might not understand is in Europe, I often speak to professionals here, and I understand that our whole way of looking at comics, the monthly comic coming out over there, it's all about the graphic novel. And what they do is the publishers will put the money out to let the artist work on for 6 months or for a year on a story arc, so that they have the time to do really detailed work. If they do color, if they do everything else, and they're seeding them that money in advance. And then when the books come out, they just stay on the shelves, because it's not like our monthly books that they're out, then they're pulled, and the way it is. So because of that, they get huge sales. When a new Asterix came out, I mean, forget it. The lines at the store were going on for days. So it's very different, and I think eventually we're going to go that way, because I don't know that obviously there's not much left of the newsstand in comics, and for the amount of money you're going to spend on a comic book, a graphic novel gives you significant enjoyment for a significant amount of time.
Yeah, very true. Well, a wise approach too, right? I mean, if it gives the creators time to put their best work into something and doesn't force them to just kind of crank out a monthly book, I mean, you're going to get a better product. And who doesn't? I typically binge watch something. I wait till the whole thing is out, right? Whether it's a TV show or something. I don't like going and waiting week to week for something. So I typically will wait till the whole thing's out, so I can understand that the joy you get from getting to see something start to finish rather than weekly, because I'll tend to forget. I won't come back to it.
Well,
a lot of times
it's different. Back in the day, most comics, each book was a self-contained story. Now, I mean, they went crazy for a while, where it jumped from this book to the next book to a completely different title and then if maybe you're 8 months in and it gets discontinued, and then that would leave the kid. Where would that leave you? Or you start a really good series, like off the top of my head, like Camelot 3000, and the first 3 issues come out, and then issue number 4 doesn't come out for 6 months.
Right.
So people, I don't think, have the patience nowadays. Certainly the millennials don't have the patience to, and none of us do. We're in a now society. I mean, we used to live on reruns. I mean, there was nothing to watch on TV. So, you every night got part of your television viewing was watching X number of reruns before you watched something original, right? And in the winter, when you were off of I should say the summer, when the series went on hiatus, it was all reruns. Nowadays, I don't watch any reruns at all. When there's so much good new stuff, so we've got to catch up with the times, in my humble opinion. But
well, it'd be nice if it could happen. But I do like that approach, definitely, and it's a gorgeous piece. So, and I'm familiar with Valerian. I mean, it's a wonderful storyline. But this is a great piece. It really is, and I'm sure you guys felt pretty proud to be able to offer this through Heritage, because it's definitely a really great.
Unfortunately, like I said, he passed away. He was considered. I mean, he's beloved in Europe. Unbelievably popular. Very nice person. I got to meet him, and he's extremely talented. Look at the work. Look at the work on that on those walls. And I mean, they didn't have to cut corners. That's the great thing.
Well, somebody's going to be very happy when they add this to their collection.
Yeah.
We, like you said, you've got a fair amount of pieces in here. There's a lot of manga work and animation stuff. I mean, this auction really does have a really diverse set of pieces in it, along with the original comic book art as well. So it's impressive. It's definitely probably one of the larger auctions that you've got internet for the international auctions. So I mean, it's going to be interesting to watch. We're going to kind of have a recap next Thursday, as part of our CAF update, and we'll be talking about the results in this, because there's a lot of solid pieces. I think that people are very interested to see where they end up.
Yeah, I mean, you have Frazetta here, you have Paul Pope, there's we could go on forever. I mean, you have 800 lots. So
right. Yeah, that Pope was amazing. I mean, that piece nobody draws Batman like Paul Pope. I mean, that's just a great piece. The Magnola here. I mean, all of these pieces in here are solid. Frazetta, I love it. Seeing you got a Buscema Silver Surfer.
Yeah,
you can't go wrong with that.
No, and the price reflects it. I mean, that's one of the great things. I mean, people say, "Oh, there's not huge." I mean, Heritage has 1.5 million registered bidders worldwide. That's astounding. Until I came here, it's just astounding the reach. So you get this tremendous cross section. You're shocked by where some of these collectors are.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Keep scrolling down. You'll see.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, you've got a Bernie Wrightson, gorgeous piece.
You got a
there.
Simon Bisley. That's a very early Wrightson. That's one of his earliest pieces that 68. He did for fans. Yeah, I was looking at that earlier today, because some of it is so well drawn. It's shocking for a young man. And then you look at the legs and you'll see part of the leg. Some of the folds are done extremely well. Some of them not so well. You could see he's just finding himself, but he still had the great sensibility, and you see where he was going with this. Great Simon Bisley, nice painted cover. I mean, the Demon, right?
Great Daredevil by Gene. Early Cap, 102 page, nice. I mean, there's
a page from X-Men 8. A Kirby page from X-Men 8 that has all the X-Men on it. I should have thrown that in there.
I forgot about that one. That's up here.
Yeah.
No, I know it's a very nice page.
Yeah, it's a solid page. I wouldn't mind having that myself. As you scroll down, you'll see there's Carl Barks, one of the there's only, as people know, again, rare art. That's a published Barks page, very early. That's going to do extremely well. It's got Uncle Scrooge, it's got the nephew, it's got everybody in it. Really strong story. You got another Don Rosa, the life and times of Uncle Scrooge. In one of the weirdest things I've ever seen, the Walt Disney Company announced that they're not going to allow the last chapter of that to be shown, because they feel it's now inappropriate to today's market. So they're not going to allow it was a 12-part series. They're not going to allow the final chapter to be published moving forward. So you have a cover, you have interior pages.
Yeah. I mean, it's Bingham Leighton, from Iron Man 132, one of my favorite all-time Iron Man stories, right? I mean, it's such a classic book. I mean, there's really some, pieces that you wouldn't expect to find in here. I mean, this is Tim Sale is gorgeous.
Yeah.
I mean, man.
I mean, I tried to limit it to, we were going to do a half hour. We're well past that already, but
Right. No, that's right. Well, that's why, typically we
It's
can
Rob
devote a
Crumb.
whole show to doing a signature preview. I'm sure we'll do that on the one that's coming up in April. I think we've
Oh
got it
yeah,
on the schedule. Yep. But
Robert
no, I mean,
Crumb, a very strong crumb page. It's one of the type of crumbs that you could actually put on the wall and you know.
yeah, and not to get any trouble for it. But yeah, no, I agree. Great Doctor Strange here. I mean, yeah, it's a great auction. It really is, Joe. I mean, there's a lot of wonderful pieces in here. I mean, look at that. That's fantastic. So
Oh, and
yeah,
let me
there's
take a moment and say to anybody wants any further information, or I mean, Olivier is, he is a walking encyclopedia when it comes to material, and he's going to have it right in front of him in Paris. So his email is Olivier D at ha.com. I mean, you just Olivier, Olivier, not Oliver. But that's, feel free to, I mean, you can send me the email at joem@ha.com and I'll be glad to forward it to him, or I can answer many of your questions as well. Marini, that page just above that to the left, go up and to the left, you see that page? Yeah. I mean, Marini is very hot. His stuff sells for he's one of those he's like Hughes where he does a sketch and it goes for $3,000. It's amazing. So he does beautiful women, and we have a couple of pages in the sale at least that I recall.
Yeah, no, it's impressive. It really is. I mean, I love Meta Barons. Look at that. I mean, that's
Meta
gorgeous.
Barons I didn't talk about because we had it. We talked about it in our sale, but we were lucky
Yeah.
enough to get a collection. And Meta Barons, again, this sci-fi fantasy motif, one of the deans and one of the most popular series ever. Very, very influential on people like George and the rest. And I mean, these are just wonderful pages. Every page a painting.
Yeah, I love this. I would do anything for this page. It's so gorgeous. I mean, I love Meta Barons.
And when we first spoke about it, you weren't that familiar with it. I think
I
you
know I
started doing
wasn't,
a
but
little
no, I
research.
mean, yeah, I mean, since that, and I've definitely I'd seen the imagery on CAF. I'd seen other collectors who were picking up pieces, but I wasn't really familiar with the story, so I wasn't as familiar with the art as I should have been. But I've done a lot more research in the last year. Yeah, I love it. So yeah, that would be a collecting goal of mine to get a Meta Barons page one day. But yeah, again, there's just great stuff in here. You got that nice Deodato, Dark Avengers. I mean, several Bernie Wrightson pieces. Yeah, and a Chris Ware even. I mean, look at that. That's
Oh yeah, there's a very nice Chris Ware.
Yep. Wow. So Joe, yeah, this is stacked.
Everybody. Take the time and scroll through the sale. I mean, there's 800 lots. I mean, anybody else putting together an 800 lot sale of only art, that's an astounding sale.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I would encourage everybody to check it out. I know I've got a link. I think I put a link in there earlier, but I'll throw it into the chat as well for everybody if you wanted to head
incredible.
over there.
Like Charles Burns, those pages have been going for his stuff goes for a fortune now. I mean, it's really surprising. We had that Burns cover and it sold for a ton of money. You have Will Eisner, Spirit. You see the Will Eisner Spirit page there?
Yeah.
Up to your left, there's more. Up to your left. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with this one.
Yeah, Buscema. I mean, you've got there's a ton of stuff I could have picked through.
Well, I would encourage everybody to check it out. Obviously, the lots start closing tomorrow, so and then throughout the weekend. So there's there's good stuff to be had. I think, what time do they start closing tomorrow? Do you know?
I don't know.
I'd have to double check the auction schedule.
Because it's EU, I don't know if it's if it's US or EU.
Right.
Earlier today it was 22 hours, so I would say it's probably 15 hours. Click on one.
Yeah, I'm trying to find exactly when, but you're right. That would make sense. It would be maybe around 1 o'clock our time, Eastern. So, okay. Yeah. Well, Joe, listen, it's always a pleasure, and I'm sorry that we didn't have more time to do this. But when we do the auction preview for the April signature auction, we'll definitely have a couple hours devoted to going through as many lots as we can in that time. So I'm looking forward to doing that, and I appreciate you being able to come on at the last minute for this. So this was good. I'm glad we got to preview this. Like somebody mentioned earlier, you always discover new artists when you have an international auction like this, and that's part of the fun is discovering new talent, and especially when that talent's been out there for a long time, like when I discovered Metabaron. So sometimes it feels a little embarrassing, but it's great to have that opportunity to see this kind of work and get.
No, there's some wonderful artists. It's shocking. You look at it and you think that this thing was, it's like a modern piece, something that somebody's working on right now, and you find out that this began in the 70s or something. It's very eye-opening, and then it really draws you back, and you can find, like you were saying, it's almost like you can go and buy these albums and these books, and I'm going to be in North Carolina and in going to visit my daughter in a week, Scott. And by the way, I hope to see a lot of you at Joe Vetteri's show in New Jersey on Sunday.
There you go. Yeah, that should be a good show. I mean, they always get a good turnout there, regardless of the weather. So yeah, that should definitely be very nice.
Yeah, we'll hope that the weather holds fast. Yeah.
Well, it's been an easy winter for everybody up north so far this year. I picked the wrong time to leave the north. You guys don't get any snow the year I leave, but all right, this is great, Joe. I appreciate it, and I'll be watching intently over the weekend to see how this stuff ends up. And if you have the time next weekend, you can tune in and see our recap where we talk a bit about some of the pieces in here. We'll probably devote about an hour and a half to that at the beginning of next week's show.
Who's going to be on the recap, Bill?
I know, unfortunately, Albert's not going to be there because he is out of the country right now.
That's terrible. I feel
he's already told me
Dino on.
Yeah, Dino's going to be on. I know Nick said he could make it, and I did ask Mike.
Be on. I'll take Nick.
Exactly, and Mike said he might. Well, actually, Mike didn't say anything. I asked him if he wanted to do it. I'd like to get a fourth. So if I can't, if Mike can't do it, I will definitely find somebody else who could speak eloquently about closing prices on auctions. But definitely Nick and Dino are going to be with me on that one. But I could tell you, Moy did say he was going to be there for the next one, though. For the signature auction, he already said that he's going to be available for that. So you'll get the Moy experience for sure with that one.
Oh, bro.
Oh boy. Well,
listen,
Joe, again,
all kidding aside, I appreciate the opportunity. I know Jim was very happy, even though he bumped me from the last preview. I'm not going to even mention it, but
that's right. Yeah, he was on the best of. He got
time yesterday. Oh, if I had known, Joe, I said, yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm going to keep everybody in the loop over there and better from now on. But I've taken on more things than I care to talk about. That's really why I've been behind in letting people know some of the stuff that's going on. But again, Joe, we'll see unless, not too long to do the next preview for the next signature auction. So I'll see you in a few weeks.
Believe it or not, the bidding is already opened on that sale.
I know. I already imported
the file. It's already opened, and it's over $3 million already. It's
incredible. So much for things slowing down, but it'll be again, I'm always optimistic, but I'm sure it's going to be a a really, really. I've seen some of the pieces. It's fantastic. You know, it's another stacked auction too. So we'll have a lot to talk about when I have you on again.
You got it. All right, Bill. Good evening,
All right, Joe.
and say hi, everybody.
I will. Have a good night. All right. So, hey, it's been a busy night of auction previews so far, but a lot of fun. I always enjoy doing those and getting a chance to talk with Joe. And maybe one day we'll get Nadia back on again too. She was always in those earlier ones that we had, but I know that since they moved, they've had a lot of things to get done around the house. So Joe's usually the one helping me out here with these, but he can't afford stairs. I don't know what's up with that. With that the ladder in the back there, but hey, it's all right. I wish I had something like that around here. That'd be kind of cool. You could just pull the ladder up when you don't want to be disturbed, right? So hey, I actually didn't. I was so busy today, I didn't even have a chance to write an outline for today's show. But I have a lot of stuff to go over and look at. And I can tell you that Mr. Snork is not going to be able to join me this evening. I do have all of his picks though, so I'm going to go through his picks for him while as best I can. It probably won't be as eloquent and hit on all the things that he might about the pieces that he's selected, but I'll do my best when we get to that point. So but you know what, since I've been going at 2 hours already, since I had that Comic Connect preview starting at 8 p.m., I'm going to just go ahead and jump into the current weekly flip that I got. I got it from Peter Rowe today. Peter put together a weekly flip, basically a Justice Society sketchbook. As you remember, it was probably 2 months ago when we did our last weekly flip that Peter provided for us, and it was all one topic. It was much longer. It was about a half hour in total, and we showed about 10 minutes on the show, and then the rest of it we posted after the fact. Today's flip is only about 6 minutes long, but yes, Mikhail, exactly. He but Chris, well, Chris has got next week off too. Kevin Sharp will be with me next week. So he's got a couple weekends off, and we'll see him later in the month. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and go off and show this Peter Rowe flip, and it'll give me a chance to go grab another Coke and a bottle of water and be prepped and ready to go for the rest of the show. So here is the latest weekly flip from Peter Rowe.
Welcome to a flip of my Justice Society of America sketchbook, which started in 2009. Most recent sketch is 2022. I want to thank the artists who all contributed to it and those that will contribute to it in the future. I knew from my original sketchbook that what it lacked was a impressive starting opening sketch, and I rectified it in this case by asking Joe Staten to do a recreation of All-Star Comics #3. From the lower left, going clockwise, are the Atom, Sandman, the Spectre, Flash, Hawkman, Dr. Fate, Green Lantern, and Hourman. I asked Steve Epting to do a sketch of these three figures, which are probably the most powerful Golden Age JSA figures, Dr. Fate, Starman, and the Spectre. This is a recreation of All-Star Comics #33 with Solomon Grundy holding the JSA members in a ball. Joe Staten, again, of Golden Age Green Lantern and Flash. Jerry Ordway, who attended Heroes Con in 2017 for the first time. I asked him to do a Dr. Fate sketch, and really knocked it out of the ballpark. Jerry, who is was a penciler and inker on All-Star Squadron and has done some JSA work over the years. Again, Joe Staten, Johnny Thunder, and Thunderbolt, after Johnny Thunder has said, "Say you." Jose Delbo's Wonder Woman. Mike Perkins, All-Star Squadron Shining Knight. Ron Friends did this at Heroes Con last year, 2022. He was happy to do it because he said this is the first time he's ever drawn Our Man. A Golden Age Sandman in inimitable Michael Golden style. This is Erwin Hazen, Hawkman. Barry Kitson, Our Man. Francesco Francavilla, Dr. Midnight, very noir. Tim Sale, Golden Age Sandman. This was when he was doing time sketches. I believe he was doing either 5 or I think it might be 5 or 15-minute sketch. Although incomplete, I really like it. Joe Staten, this was a take-home commission that he did for me of the Spectre Jim Corrigan, plus various criminals being about to face their fate from the Spectre of Vengeance. J.G. Jones, Wonder Woman Golden Age. Of course, this is the plane, the invisible plane she didn't have during the Golden Age. Mr. Terrific and Wildcat by Bob McLeod. JSA Forever. Barry Kitson with a nice Golden Age Green Lantern. I like the fact that he's he's doing a Mjolnir. He's projecting a Mjolnir in Hammer. This is Stefan Roux. Hawkman. Really like this piece because it's not the steroid-driven superheroes that are, for me, are hard to take. This is a very realistic portrait of what Hawkman would look like without these huge steroid-driven figures that you see sometimes. Mike Grell, Golden Age Green Lantern. Mike Grell again, Golden Age Spectre. I believe these were Heroes Initiative sketches. Golden Age Flash, Casey Jones, who I think is working for Disney now. Jerry Ordway again. This is Starman. I asked him to have it, him melting through a bulkhead. Greg Land, Golden Age Wonder Woman. Keith Champagne, Stargirl. Keith was worked on the JSA Jeff Johns series. Tom Grummett with a Golden Age Atom and a Silver Age Atom. Daryl Banks did this at Heroes Con 2022 of the Silver and Golden Age Green Lantern shaking hands. Dan Jurgens, Golden Age Wonder Woman. That was at Terrificon. Sean Chun, this was at Baltimore Comic-Con. This is my first Sean Chun sketch of Commander Steel. This is the first time they ever done this type of this character. He really did a really good job. I really enjoyed it. I hope to get more Sean Chun sketches in the future for the book. And then to end it on the back, inside cover, I have Erwin Hazen's self-portrait quick sketch with him, Wildcat, Green Lantern, The Flash, 2010. Rest in peace, Erwin. We really miss you. And that's my sketchbook, JSA.
And I would agree with Jeff there. A terrific flip, Peter. Thank you so much for sharing. It's always fun to see those. I mean, a lot of times, you don't get to see work that's done in sketchbooks, right? Because a lot of times people just don't take the time to scan the artwork that they get put into sketchbooks if they take the cons, or like in some of those cases, those were take-home commissions for Peter. And those things don't end up on CAF. I mean, CAF was built in part. One of the things I always wanted to see con sketches and pieces in sketchbooks, because those are the things that people typically didn't take the time to do or put on their own websites. So when we came up with CAF, I mean, that was one of the things for me. I wanted to see all the pieces like that, because those are the things that you might only get to see if somebody would share their sketchbook with you when you were at a show. So I love seeing those, and I really appreciate you sharing that with us, because there's a lot of fun pieces in there. I like them a lot. So as Jordan just said, the true definition of a great flip. So I will post that flip to the channel tomorrow. So anybody who wants to see it, give it a thumbs up tomorrow. Just even if you don't get a chance to watch the whole thing tomorrow, you got to see the whole thing tonight. But I will have it on there tomorrow. So give Peter's flip a few thumbs up as well tomorrow, and and I would encourage other people to do the same. I've actually gotten a few emails today from people who are going to be putting together flips, I think, that we'll have for next week or maybe the weekend after that. We always like to have flips and cribs to show. I encourage everybody to do them. The only thing, if you don't email me ahead of time, just always remember to film them horizontal. Don't film them vertical, because that it's not as fun. It's not as easy to edit. It doesn't look as good as it could possibly be on the screen. So, but your lighting was better on that one, Peter. Well, see, you're learning. You did. That's your second one. Your third one will be even better. A 9x12 book. Okay, so what else have I got here? I mean, a few other things. Well, I won't even touch on the one thing yet, but I've actually got a lot of photographs, not a lot, but I got some photographs. Remember, we've been mailing out the best of trophies, and I finally got the last two mailed out today, and only because I didn't have boxes. I had to end up digging around. Maureen went to the grocery store or someplace and came home with a couple boxes that were just right to put the best of trophies in them. So I got those mailed out today. But people have been sending me photographs of their the placement for their best of trophies, and we shared those last year, and those were it was a lot of fun to show them off, to see where people would end up putting them in their rooms or whatnot. So I've got a few photographs for you and a video clip for Mr. Jeff Wedding, and I won't say anything about it, but it's awesome. But so here's the first one. This is from Matt E. Matt, as you know, won a trophy in 2021 and 2022. So I think is he the only one? I believe he is, where he, that actually has a 2021 and 2022 trophy. So I think that's pretty awesome. And because I forgot one of the rough early 2021s here. Not colored or painted or whatnot, but again, nice to see. I'm glad it's placed in a place of priority within the house on a bookshelf somewhere, so that Matt gets to look at that year in and year out. And Sideshow Bob, of course, he's holding up the trophy, I imagine, here, because it doesn't look like it's on a shelf, but he's holding it in front of the artwork that garnered him the award. So thank you for that, Sideshow. I appreciate that. Well, as everybody knows, we'll have Bob on the show in May, and that'll be a lot of fun. We've got to have him on the best of presentation that evening. He was the only person who was able to come on while we presented the awards, so that was a lot of fun. A first for a best of, and good pick here. And then West sent me a photograph as well. Looks like he's at work here. Well, maybe not. I mean, this could be at home. I mean, there's an FF cover behind that Archie cover, but right in front of all of those is a best of trophy. So I'm happy to see that right there, and I'm sure West is pretty proud of that. I mean, he had one heck of a cover. He should have put the cover in front of that Archie, but that's okay. We know what piece won it for West this year, but. We've got 5 hammers and you get a gold jacket, says Jeff. Maybe, I don't know. It's hard to say if we'll keep the hammer trophy around for that long, but it's possible. I mean, I like it, but I think by the time we hit 3 or 4 years in doing it, we'll probably come up with something a little different. But you never know. You never know. But I did get a video clip from Jeff today, and I put some music to it, as he asked. I mean, he didn't tell me what to put it to, but I think I came up with something appropriate. But Jeff did a little montage for us on his trophy, and I think everyone's going to appreciate this and be jealous that they didn't think to do it themselves. But I think Jeff has always been a trendsetter in many ways, and this video is definitely going to set the bar for sending us a little presentation of what you've done with your trophy from Best Ofs once you got it. So let's take a look at that and be ready, because you're going to smile a lot. Indeed, looking good. Jeff, that was fantastic. I really appreciated that. That really made my day when I got to take a look at that. But yeah, what fun, man! You took it all over Vegas, and then did everybody see it sitting on his shoulder during that one photograph? I mean, come on, that was that was so much fun, Jeff. You definitely know how to have a good time. I can't wait to get the chance to see you in Vegas and go out on the town once with you. So yes, a huge high five for putting that together. CVR says classy. Cosmo says you could wear that trophy around your neck like Flavor Flav. Very true, but it can't tell time for you, man. So what else we? But yes, it was definitely cool, and I typically haven't sent out too many requests, but I mean I think I sent out 16 trophies this time around, so we've got 4 photographs back. I'll have to email everybody who hasn't sent me a photograph and try to get some more for next week. But thank you all for sharing those. It's a lot of fun, and really, all the years we've done the best of. It's these last 2 years have been the most fun, just because we've been able to give out trophies. It just makes it so much more special, and I hope everybody enjoys it. Even if you haven't gotten one yet, I mean, eventually it's possible you may get one. You never know, but it is fun to see. It's Cyril says it's hammer time. Well, of course it is. Oh man. And CJ is reminding everybody that there's lots of people watching and not as many people thumbs upping the video. Thanks for the reminder of that, CJ. So speaking of hammer time, I think I mentioned when I got the shipment of the best of trophies from my uncle that several of them came, they arrived broken because he had glued the hammer to the base, which he didn't do the first year we did it, and it just made for this awkward. It's because the base is solid. It's not hollow. The actually the handle of the hammer is hollow, and everything else is solid. So you've just got this heavy weight at the bottom, and I think he made 20 of these originally. Put 20 of them in a box, even with the number of peanuts that he had in there. These things just bounced around in there. 5 of the hammers got broken. So Gwen go in and pop the hammerheads off of those that got broken. And there was, when I talked about that, Marcus had mentioned that he wanted them. And, I was looking at him thinking maybe I would try to glue them together, but I knew I wouldn't have the patience or the time to do that. So when I sent Marcus, who, by the way, has 2 trophies, that's true. I didn't even think about that. Marcus is a 2-time trophy winner. So when I sent him his 2022 trophy, I also sent him the 5 broken hammers, and Marcus sent me a photograph that he fixed them. So I don't know what's going to end up happening with those hammers. I mean, he can bestow them on anyone he wants. He can keep them for himself. I don't know, but he did send me a picture of the repair jobs that he did, and here it is. Look at this. He is very proud of his work, and yes, that is not to scale, everybody. Marcus is much taller than that, but yeah, I guess he put a nail in there, and then, like I say, the handle is hollow, which was why they just were not strong enough. But he fixed them. He used a little epoxy, and bam, now he's got 5 hammers that he can do with as he pleases. But thank you for doing that, Marcus, because it was disappointing when I saw those all busted, because they're too cool to spoil. So thank you for doing that. And this is the way. Absolutely. Gorilla Glue. I don't know if it was Gorilla Glue. He said epoxy, but there is an epoxy Gorilla Glue, isn't there? I think we've used it before here around the house. Rich Marcus looks hammered. Yes, he did. Rick Welch says he nailed it. Yes, if he had a hammer. Boy, you guys, this stuff writes itself, doesn't it? It really does. So I'm glad that Marcus got some use out of those, and who knows where they'll end up. We've seen a lot of cool photo montages, of course, from different things that Marcus has done or has set up around his house. So I hope it finds its way into at least one of those Lego sets, or maybe a stack of fireworks. I don't know, but yeah, thank you, Marcus, for doing that. Man, so I got a lot of stuff going on and a lot of things that I could be previewing here. But before I do, as you know, the San Francisco Comic Art Show was this last weekend. And I guess it was a rainy day, so I guess a lot of people didn't bring their own portfolios to share collector-wise. There wasn't a get-together after the show, from what Marcus said. But Marcus and Derek, Ian Saint, Kevin Sharp were there, a few other collectors, and then of course the regular dealers that make their way out to that side of the coast. Saul was there, Bashara, Donnelly's were there, and of course Glenn. I'm sure I'm missing some people. Scott Doonbeer was there, but you'll see them all because we've got some photos and videos that were sent to me by Derek and Marcus, and so I kind of threw those all together into a little video so you can see. It looks like the there were no artists there. Usually Magnola is there. I think last show, I think Art Adams was there with Mike as well. So it was a little bit of a low key show, I guess, in a way, but so a little smaller space. Not as big as the ones that they've typically had, but a lot of great art on the walls, and hey, any opportunity to get collectors together is a good opportunity. So have a look at this video clip.
There's a quilt man and a patchwork. I know, that's the patchwork. The patchwork.
I mean, yeah, so some of the pages you're not known for local. Sometimes they have the shrink because they do it on a different piece of paper.
Well, it wasn't the complete deal makers. Will wasn't there, so but there probably was Pop Mon artwork in the room. How could there not be? I mean, there just has to be. But as Mr. Easy Go Lucky mentioned, Tom Kraft was there. You saw Brian Peck. He was the tall guy with the mask on. And who else did I see in there? Oh, Morger, of course, Morger with his red shirt on. He's always that's a common shirt to see him in. I don't know why it's his style, but Morger, of course, of the Lake Como Comic Art Festival, which is in May. So yeah, so it was a good turnout. I mean, as far as exhibitors, and maybe the rain kept a few people away, but Bashar does that show in San Francisco that in March, and then what? I think it's September when the LA show is. I forget. It's around that time period. So, 2 West Coast shows are good. And then, as Rich Cirillo mentioned, this weekend is the Comic Art Con, and that's on Sunday, I believe, right? Something around 10 to, I don't even know what time that thing goes, 10 to 5, something like that. I mean, I don't think it's a very long show. Let's him get lipstick on his shirt, Kazra says. Yeah, that's probably true. Who is the art restoration person? I need to have some early artwork prepared. That was somebody. Marcus is here. He'll remind us. He's an artist. He has a calf gallery. He does mostly logo placements. Oh, Pasco. Yeah, thanks, James Pasco. Marcus got it. He does mostly things like logo placements, maybe overlays and things like that. So if you had restoration work that you needed to get done, I mean, I have a list of people that like 3 or 4 people who do that. So there might be better people. Because Pasco really focuses primarily on logo replacement and those sorts of things. I could be wrong, but I know that that's his main area of focus. So I wish I had a photo I could show you whatever it had on his back wall, but I'm pretty sure. Anyway, but Frank, if you want to know, I can send you the short list of people who are working in the restoration business. Where is the con this weekend? It is in New Jersey. Where's James D'Ambrosia when I need him? He could tell us exactly which hotel and where. I know it was posted on Facebook just today where they put the hotel address. I'll find it for you since I'm over there now. Comic Art Con. Come on, where is it? It is in Secaucus, New Jersey. No, Hasbrook Heights, New Jersey. The Holiday Inn, Hasbrook Heights. And here, I'll just paste the location in the chat for those of you in the area. I'm trying, Brian. But yeah, there you go. That is the location in New Jersey. I think it's like $20 admission, but they usually get about anywhere between 80 and 100 attendees. They typically have at least a dozen people set up. Just from the list that they have on Facebook. Will's going to be there, Anthony, Hans, Comic Link, Jim Warden, Albert Moy, Nathan Rose, Comic Connect, Rich Donnelly, Brad Savage, Paul Marino, Ben Bressel, Nazar Loon, and J.M. DeSantis are all setting up at that show. So, I mean, that's I'd say 80% of those people are the ones who usually exhibit there. Let's see, it doesn't list Glenn. Glenn usually is there. So, but by and large, it's always a good show to go to. So if you can get out to that one, I would encourage it. I haven't been to that show probably in 8 years, but I went to 3 of the early ones. It was always fun. So it would be a good time. It's a great show, and it's really growing, says Mr. Redjack. Absolutely. Well, it's in the, it's in the place where you have the highest concentration of art dealers, and a decent collection, concentration of art collectors. Anyway, so let's see. Frank says I was able to scroll back and find the picture, but there is no name or way to get in contact with the person. I'm not sure. Shoot me an email, Frank, and I can help you out. Let's see. Big lunch after near the airport, says Mikhail, and it's 15 minutes from Fish's house. Fish is set up there before with Jason, I believe, at the last show. So party at Fish's house, maybe afterwards or before breakfast. I can't speak for you though, Fish. I can't invite people over to your place, but let's see. Any chance to get out of the state for a weekend? Yes, I get you, Brian. We definitely need more shows like that. So, and I'm making progress on my thing down here for something in February 2024. I still can't really talk about it though. So hopefully in the next few weeks, by the end of the month, let's say, I can have some concrete details out to everybody about what we're doing down here in Florida. So let's keep this thing going here. What do I got? It's $15, says Mikhail. All right. Like I said, I haven't been there in a long time. So why don't we take a quick look at my upcoming schedule? And I can show you this because this is where I'll be this weekend. I think Khosrow is going to be there, of course. And it's a James Martin, George Pratt exhibit at the Frazetta Art Museum in Boca Grande, Florida. 3.5-hour drive from my place, and I'm not even any, you know, it's I'm still probably only halfway to the Florida Keys, but Florida is a big state, so I'll be driving down there for that on Sunday. Looking forward to meeting George Pratt. Never met him before. Same with James Martin. So you know, it's gonna be fun. I've never been to the Frazetta Museum either, so I'm just looking forward to everything but the drive. But it's gonna be a fun show, and you know, anytime I can get out to a place like this, and hopefully I'll be able to shoot a little bit of video, take some photos, and everybody will get to see what it looked like. It's almost as if you were there next Thursday at the CAF update. But that's what I'm doing this weekend. So here, before I figured I'd show you that before I even show you the full list. But got a busy slate of stuff coming up. First is that Joe Phillips art sale that's going to happen on Monday night. And I know I've shown some of the artwork that Joe's, you know, that I have in my hands from Joe already. This is the first show that I'll be running where I'll be handling all the fulfillment on the artwork too. So I've got a little bit of engineering and things that get done on my side of things to kind of accommodate all that, because I'll be the one invoicing people who buy any of the artwork from Joe's show and shipping it too. So we've got our hands full here, but you know, Gwen's probably going to be helping me a bit. Same with Emma, Maureen. Well, it'll be all hands on deck to get things done. But we've got, I think, about 35 of these overpower card pieces, and Joe and I, you know, we talked about it. We don't really know what the price I'm at, so we're just going to do auctions for all the pieces. And most of these are well, several of them are 2 on a 11 by 17 board, and other ones were cut in half. Most of them were cut in half. I think we've got about five or six that have 2 pieces of card art on them, and the rest are all cut. So I'm going to leave them as is. Some people were asking if I was going to cut them if there were 2 on a board, and I'm not. So I'm going to keep them in the way that I got them from Joe. So we'll just start the bidding at $50 per card. If there's 2 cards on a board, we'll start it at $100 and kind of roll with it. I know I usually don't do auctions for these types of sales, but you know, Joe is he's in need of some financial help, and so you know, the more we can raise for him, the better. So I mean, I could have priced these cards low and just sold them all, but I think there's a few in here that are nice and you know, might sell for a couple $100, and I'd rather put that opportunity out there and help Joe raise as much as we possibly can for him. There will be some other art as part of that show as well. There's a Heretic cover for those of you who remember that book, and there's about 15 or 16 pages from a book that was almost completed before the company went defunct, but it's classic Joe Phillips stuff. I think it was done with Dexter Vines. I'd have to go back and talk to Joe about that before the sale. But at any rate, there'll be a few other pieces, you know, a few other things available for sale during the Joe Phillips show, and I hope everybody can tune in and support Joe. Because he's definitely had a rough go of it these last few years, and you know, I want to do well for him on Monday. Next week I'll have another auction preview with Hakes. That'll be on Tuesday. They can have as much time as they want, because that's all I'm doing that night. Then as part of the CAF update, as I already mentioned, we'll be doing an auction recap for several auctions on that one. And then I've got a Howard Chaykin art sale. I got some of Howard's art in today, as well as scans, and I'll have it in my hands in probably less than a week. But Howard was sent these over my way. These are I forget the size on these, something like 9x6, 9x7, something like that. He had an odd size for him, but he did a bunch of sketches that were similar, you know, similar characters. John Carter, Deja Thoris here. He had another one, just, you know, the Shadow, Lone Ranger. But then he had a set with Wilma Deering and Buck Rogers, so you got similar characters there. He did another pair, you know, the Dragon Lady and Burma, and then there were a few other similar types of you know, pieces that went together. So I'll probably sell them, you know, so they'll be sold separately, but I'll keep them together while I'm doing them so people can see them. But yeah, I have got all those. That Sunday, I'll be doing a Fat Jacks fundraiser again with Mr. Barucci. So that'll be fun. That'll be at 2 p.m. on Sunday, Eastern. And then on Monday, I'll have a Jordan versus Mike versus Anthony Three Amigos battle, where I believe all the pieces are going to be $500 or less. We've got a Randy House interview on Tuesday, Dan Brereton art sale that the Saturday at 2 p.m. on the 25th. So remember I asked people a couple weeks back, so Dan said he wanted to know what people wanted him to do, and he might do it. And so I only got one request, and it was for a man thing. Somebody said he'd make an awesome man thing. Could he do one? And I can tell you, he did one. He sent me that one and just said, yeah, he goes, I like this one myself. If it doesn't sell, I'll take it to Lake Como with me. So because he's going to be attending that. So he's actually made, I believe, like 30, I want to say 33, 34 of these. Plus he's going to have some published pieces of art. So we're going to have a lot of art of his to look at when we do that sale with him. But it's going to be fun. I loved, Dan's a really awesome guy to talk with. And, I've always just, his art's just amazing. So we'll have a lot of stuff to look at, and hopefully we'll do some good sales for him as well. Then I should just go through the rest of this kind of quick. I've got a prop store auction preview for one that we just started promoting. It's an auction that is benefiting the Ringling Art Institute, but we'll be doing a preview of that at 7:30 on the 27th, and then the Heritage preview that I mentioned earlier with Joe, I will do at 9 o'clock. So that's going to be a long night of previews, and then I'll have Sam Maroney on the 28th, and then I will be at MegaCon. I've decided I'm only going to go on Friday to MegaCon. So for those of you who are also going to MegaCon, shoot me an email. I'll get you my cell phone number. Maybe we can meet up for lunch or something while I'm there. I don't think I'm going to be in town, into the evening, but I'll definitely be there from opening until mid-afternoon on that Friday. Then I've got an art sale with several people from the Next Comic Art team on the Saturday after that, April 1st. It'll be a 9 p.m. show because it's 9 or 10 a.m. for them. So it'll be an evening sale on a Saturday. Then, of course, the Tentacles sketchbook show, which I don't know if Mr. Wingo has been approached by James yet, but I hope that Mr. Wingo will be a guest on that sketchbook show. So please pencil it in, Scott. And, you can help out on wrangling the tentacles on that show. Patrick and Jeannie Wilshire on the Tuesday after that. I've got the CAF update, since a CAF recap, but I've got the Heritage recap as part of that one, and that's the one that I know that Albert Moy is going to be a part of that one. So everybody will enjoy that. And then I've got Oming on the 8th. I've got Bart Sears on the 15th. I've got Robbie and John Moore on Monday at 9 p.m. on April 24th. I've got Dexter Soy on Saturday, the 29th at 2 p.m. I've got Sideshow Bob on May 2nd. We've got the next sketchbook chat on the 8th. And then I'll have Alberto Gonzalez as my guest on Tuesday, the 9th. After he was on the sketchbook show, I asked him if he'd love to, would you love to be in an interview with me? And he said, absolutely. So we've got that. And then I'll have Simone Bianchi, an art sale on the 17th of June. So crammed full of shows and schedules. And did I get it? I don't think I got a text back from Jason Schachter. I didn't. Jason has told me of four artists. We did such a good job with Klaus that there are 4 artists that I'm going to be doing sales shows with, interviews and sales shows with, coming up. Who knows? These are 4 big names, and I'm not going to say any of them just yet because we don't have dates yet. But they all wanted to do it, so these are going to be big, and they're going to be a lot of fun. They're definitely fun for me, and I'm sure going to be very fun for everybody watching as well. I mean, they're going to be big. They're going to be great. And I pinged him earlier today just to see if I could announce it, and he was like, "Well, let's wait until we have a couple confirmed dates." And so Kennedy, I asked about Kennedy. But but the other, but you'll see. At any rate, I won't tell you. But they're big. But Klaus was a lot of fun though, and everybody that watched it from Essential Sequential, and enjoyed it. They saw that you guys in the chat were very engaging and fun, and they could tell that it would be a good show, and the sales were good too. So you can keep guessing, everybody, but I'm not going to tell you until I can tell you. Hopefully next week I will be able to tell you. But one of the people has a huge social following. I can tell you that, like massive, more than anybody I would have ever expected to interview and do a little art sale with. So that's the only teaser on there that I'll give you. But okay, so other than all of that, I think I've kind of covered most of the stuff on there as far as the schedule goes that I've got planned. Did I show all the artwork I wanted? Yeah. But yeah, if you really could, I mean, Monday night's just special. Even if you're not there to buy any art from Joe, the more people we can have in the audience just hanging out and chatting and making your presence known, the better. I think it'll definitely be good for Joe. He's kind of excited about doing this, more just to kind of get out and chat. I think he's talked about wanting to maybe take on some commissions. I'll have to ask him about that. I know few people have asked me if there's any opportunity to do any kind of commissions with Joe. I haven't talked to him since early on and things, but I'm supposed to reach out to him this weekend. So I'll ask him about it. I don't think it's something that we would do during the show, but if there were a way, for me to put you in touch with Joe after the fact, if you're looking for a commission, I'm happy to do that. I don't want to be involved in being an arbiter in a commission. I did that once, right? It worked. It did work with the Sienkiewicz and Cowan show, but I don't know. I'll see how it goes. I'll talk with Joe about it. We'll work something out, because the vibe I got when I talked with Joe was that he's anxious to kind of get back to working, even if it was just small one-offs, commission style stuff. He's definitely seems like that he's at that point where in his recovery and everything, where he's like wants to be doing art again. So for those of you who are interested in that, shoot me an email and I'll talk with Joe about it, and we'll see what we can work out for him. Let's see. You guys, Steranko would be interesting, but he'd probably only do a podcast. He might not appear on camera, but that's always a possibility. I sort of asked about that last year when he had that gallery show in Youngstown, and I didn't get a no. I kind of got a maybe, and I just sort of let it drop. I didn't really follow up with them. I'd love to talk with Mark Brooks as well, but no, he wasn't on the list. Yeah, you guys are all over the place on this, but let's see. Oh, yes. But anyway, yeah, Monday night with Joe, please tune in if you can. I would appreciate it, and so would he. Next up, I think we've covered a lot of things. So why don't I've got two packages to open up. First up, as many of you know, I got that wonderful Moidoc shirt from Alex Garcia that's in the TeePublic store. And, I got a message from Alex. He said that another shirt was on its way, and here it is. So I have no idea what it is. I have no clue. So let's open it up and find out what we got. Boy, I picked the dullest pair of scissors to try to open this thing up. There we go. Oh boy, I don't want you to see it just yet. I got to read it for. Oh boy, well this is going to be a hit. I wonder if we can. Oh, he's even. Oh boy. All right. Well, here you go, everybody. Crotch Goblin. Look at that. There you go. Crotch Goblin. And what is he holding? He's holding a copy of my cover from the Kickstarter. Oh boy. Yeah, that goes really well. I like it. And look, it's kind of bit mapped out. That's good. So it's PC. We could sell this in the store. Man. Alex, I sincerely appreciate this. I will wear it. I'm sure there are a few other people out there who might like to have one of these too. Yes, if Anthony sees this, he might want one as well. But no, this is awesome. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate it. I've gotten a lot of shirts here. Look, I'm wearing a Moy shirt tonight too. I think Marcus, you were wearing it your Moy shirt at the San Francisco show. Oh, Nick Patera, man. Hey, you're sending me a pack. All right, awesome. Hey. Well, I can't wait to get whatever it is, Nick. Yeah, I got to get you back on the show, man. We got to do the interview the one time, and you also did the panel during Comic Art Live. But I'd love to get you back on the show when you have some more time. I know you've been so busy, with your project over the last year. But yeah, maybe we can work something out in the spring. I'd love to have you back on there. But yes, everybody, it is an instant sellout, says Kazra. Anyway, but I sincerely appreciate that, Alex. All right, next up. This is a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. So this is a package from Anthony Snyder, and I did order some art from him, but it wasn't this size. So I don't know why it's packed like this. But you never know with Anthony. I mean, Bobby ships. No, I don't know who packs the stuff over there. Mr. Redjack, you probably know who packs the art over at Anthony's place, right? Let's see. Boy. It's like they reused. Why would they reuse boxes over there? Oh, man. Okay, so I had to get a portfolio, so maybe that's why it's in here this size. Just want to make sure I'm not throwing anything else out here, right? It doesn't wedge to anything else. No. All right. Wait a minute, there's no Dueling Dealer sticker on here. Oh, he's cheaping out on us. All right, so let's see. So I got a couple, we're going to see a Dave Cockrum X-Men artwork in the CAF update later from my picks. But, I've already decided I won't be able to probably ever afford a published X-Men piece by Cockrum. So yeah, I saw these over with Anthony, and I negotiated it. I got him to bend on price a little bit, like you guys do during Dueling Dealers. And I got a nice Cyclops. I mean, see, it's a decent one. As we know, as Cockrum, got a little bit older, some of the pieces weren't as good. But look at that. Look at that, Marcus. Now that is a Cyclops right there, my friend. Pretty good. Like what period? What do you say? Like it wouldn't be early 90s, maybe late 80s. I don't know, but probably early 90s. And then a Jean as well. Decent. I've been waiting to get something other than a published page, since I won't be able to afford any of those for anytime soon. So just happy to get both of those from Anthony. So there you go. Those are mine. I'm happy. I used to have some published pages by Cockrum, and I had about 4 or 5 pieces like that and sold them all. So I'm happy to at least get something back. And they are nice. They're on 11x14. And no, very good stuff. So I'm glad everybody approves of those. I'm happy. I mean, it makes me feel good, given the fact. I mean, you heard me talk about. I mean, last week I was talking about that piece that we made offers on and I didn't get. And it's fun. The story on it is very funny, and it ended up tragic in its own way. But it was for that Bill Willingham Elementals piece, was the one I was talking about, but didn't want to say it. Last week, I got the backstory that apparently it was listed at $300 and with make offer on it, and somebody made an offer of $650 on it, even though it was started at $300, to kind of make it so they could just get it right. Well, the seller changed the price from $300 to $650 with a make offer, because it just was what it was. Now, for me, I felt that page was probably a $500, $550, maybe $600 page. I mean, it hadn't been, I haven't seen it before, right? So it wasn't on the market. But what transpired was, I offered $500, then I offered $550. Both were turned down because, of course, you already got an offer for $650. And then where did it end up? People actually bid the heck out of it in the last 3 hours of the auction, and it went up to $1,150, somewhere around in there. And I agree, Rick, absolutely lame move by the seller. I mean, they should have taken the $650. But it worked in their favor, unless somehow they were involved in bidding it up to that price. It didn't look like it, though, by the number of different people that bid on that lot. But come on, an Elementals page, even from issue 2, even one that you haven't seen on the market ever before, is not $1,100 page, but it's okay, Rich. As long as you didn't end it. Rich is apologizing for opening the bidding on the elementals. I was actually going to as well, because I thought to myself, all right, screw it. I'd like to get an elementals page. I've been wanting to replace I think I had 4 before I had a mini golf. I had I had 4 pages from issues, I think 2 and 3, or maybe it was 2 and 4. But, I just thought, all right, I'll go $800 on it. I'm thinking I'll do it. But so I waited. I figured I'll put a bid in there in the last hour. But by the last hour, it was already at $950. So I was like, this is insane. Whoever, I'm going to stop talking about Willingham Elementals pages, because I know there aren't that many people out there that love that stuff, but or don't love it well enough to spend over $1,000 for a page. So that was I don't know. That was weird. But again, it was a page people had never seen before. Who knows? But anyway, whatever. Maybe I'm never going to get an elementals page now, because it's hard to overpay. When you know something where it should be. And I know demand forces prices up on things, but it's just not something that I would have ever expected. So, I mean, I sold the cover to issue 8. I think I had the cover to 8, and I sold it at Comic Art Live for $1,000 a year and a half ago, and that's twice up Willingham covers. And if anybody's seen those, I mean, they're huge on like a heavy mat board. So I mean, yeah, and that was a stretch. I think I'd put it on Comic Art Live for $1,200, and I only had somebody made me an offer of $900, and I ended up selling it for $1,000. So a page going for $1,100, what's this world coming to? So all right, Dave, I get it. I'm with you, man. It's just I haven't been in the I haven't been an aggressive collector in a long time. So I guess the rules are what they are. But Dave says sometimes you have to pay tomorrow's price today in order to bring it home. I know there are several dealers that live by that mantra, but I get it. I do get it. And that's why I thought, okay, if I pay, I was thinking like $800, $850. I'm just going to do it because I want to get it. And I was just shocked. I go there an hour before the thing ends, and it's already at $950. So yeah, that was crazy. I guess I'll have to just get lucky and score something at a show or something in the future. And speaking of, I had Mr. Barucci reached out to me last week, and he was at a show, and there were a couple pages that, I mean, the interesting thing about him was there is like a Willingham tie with the character. I don't know when I'll get the pages, because I know, because Nick picked them up for me. He sent me pictures of them, said, hey, you're interested in these? Or like, they're nothing, cheap, cheap pieces. And I looked at them, and they were actually done on TSR boards, so that was kind of interesting, but I didn't know anything about the characters or anything on it. And first I said no, and then I'm like, oh, whatever, they're cheap enough, I'll buy them. And Nick was nice enough to pick them up for me. But I did a little research, and it turned out that Willingham was, and what they were from was, he wrote 1 or 2 of the early stories for the character, did a cover for the first book with the character in it. So while the art isn't by Willingham at all, I just thought it was, the era was all right. It was the mid 80s type of character. I think actually this is from the late 80s, maybe even like 91, but cool stuff. And I appreciate Nick for bringing it to my attention. It's back to that. It's always good to have friends, and have friends who know what you're interested in, right? Because you never know. It's like when we were talking with Dinesh and Mike on Tuesday, right? They help each other find stuff all the time. Once people know what you're looking for, who knows? Maybe somebody will find that Elementals page at a show in Toledo, Ohio one day, and it'll be priced where I want it, and they'll be able to pick it up for me. So again, always good to have friends and let them know what you want. So Pogs, says Chuck. Yeah, I hear you. Anyway, so I can lament. I'm going to cry about that Elementals a bit. I just can't help myself. But as a reminder, as everybody knows, I mentioned last week that Mr. Joe Fixit is got a event going on Saturday, April 29th in North Carolina. And it's the Art in the Woods meetup. Here's a photo from last year. And if you're interested in going, and I know we mentioned where that was at last week, I think it was Bear something. I'm I'm not sure now. I'm better double check. Let's see, I'm over on his Facebook. Bear Creek, North Carolina is the location, and it will be the last Saturday of April. And you can contact Joe Fixit on Facebook, and his name there is Joe Fixit, or you can email him at joefixit2@incrediblehulk.com if you're interested in going. You can get all the particulars and everything. He literally has a petting zoo, everybody. You can buy an ice cream cone full of treats and feed the goats and stuff. I mean, it's all decked out like you'd want, but getting the opportunity to hang out with a lot of art collectors and look at art, what more can you ask for? And you figure that's a month and a half before the big Heroes Con, and so a good kind of segue prior to getting to have us all hang out at Heroes in Father's Day weekend in June. I still haven't, George and I have talked, but we haven't talked recently. There will be an event at Heroes that Thursday night prior to the show opening on Friday. I don't have any details yet, but hopefully, George has been very busy with that. It wasn't an Indiegogo, but his campaign that he did with Matt Allison and Aaron Connolly. But hopefully I'll get some information from him in the next few weeks and we can start talking about that. But definitely plan, if you're going to Heroes, to be there Thursday evening so that you can do the Comic Art Fans / Heroes meetup the night before everything gets started. So yes, come and there's Steve. He's come one, come all. Steve will put on a good show. Hey, and George is looking forward to it too. Hey, George, we got it. Okay, there we go. George will have some details sometime soon. Thank you, George. I do, the sooner we can let everybody know what, when, and where. I mean, I haven't even booked my hotel yet. I was supposed to do that last weekend. I'll probably take care of it this weekend. But it is. It's the show. It is the show to go to, I would say. So, #1 Marvel fan, if you can make it, you definitely should give it a try. And yes, Bear Creek, North Carolina, everybody. All right. Have I gotten through everything? I'm just looking at every slide, everything that I tried to prep for this show, and I think I have done it all. And I'm not going to do a Heritage preview. I could. You could check it out online, of course. I mean, I did pick 10 pieces of art already. But, if you're interested in the pieces I picked out, myself from the weekly auction, you can definitely head on over to the page that I put together for the show every week. I just stuck that in the chat. There was a nice Wrightson Superman page that I liked from the Weird. I mean, it really was very nice. And that was out there. A Gene Colan page from Captain America from 120, and a few other interesting pages out there. But I'm not gonna show those because we spent an hour previewing the international auction, so plenty of time already talked about that. But a nice Jim Silky piece, Steve Epting. Murphy Anderson, another Superman page I thought was really nice. It was a Jimmy Olsen book, but had Superman all over it. Some good stuff. But you can check it out at your leisure on that link that I just posted in the chat. So next up, before we get to the CAF update, is the EXP promo for tomorrow's show at 7 p.m. with Mr. Nick Barucci. And as you know, on the EXP every Friday from 7 to 8 p.m. Maybe we'll say 8:15 p.m. Right, Nick? It is his show where he sells art and has fun with the audience. Usually has a giveaway, and there's always very reasonably priced pieces of art available during that show. So it's always a good time. His audience has definitely grown over the last year and a half, 2 years. Well, no, it's just over 2 years, right, Nick, for the channel. So it's a good hangout. As much fun as we have here, you will have just as much fun over there. 7 to 8 p.m. And he broadcasts on YouTube, on Facebook, Twitch, and there's probably some other place that he broadcasts to as well. But it's a good show. I would advise you to check it out on YouTube. That's usually where everybody else is hanging out too. But here is his preview for tomorrow.
Everybody, this Friday, March 10th, 7 p.m. Eastern. Wow, I got the date and the time right, 4 p.m. Pacific. Amy just gave me the thumbs up. I didn't even screw that up, but I'm wasting time being proud of myself. One way or the other, I was going to waste time. Anyway, this Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. I'm excited. It's going to be a big, big show because we have some art Great artists, some artists we've had before, but some books that we've never, ever, ever had. So I'm going to start off with, in some ways, one of the biggest. We will have X Factor 47 pages written by Kieran Dwyer, pencils by Kieran Dwyer, inks by Al Milgrom. I've only ever seen 2 other pages, and they are on calf. We have page 29, we have page 20, and we have page 19. I mean, you gotta love it. You got Storm right there in the mohawk, one of the characters drawn like her. You've got, this is just great, with Angel, with Apocalypse, the 4 Horsemen, the original X-Men, the X-Factor X-Men. There's just so much going on. Professor X, balanced Apocalypse. I mean, it's just fantastic. Then we have 2 pages from Thanos vs. Hulk by Jim Starlin, an awesome 2-page spread. You gotta love the fact that you've got the Hulk, you've got Blastar, you've got the Annihilator. It's not the Annihilator. Maybe, God, I'll remember what it is by Friday. We also are working with Carol Flynn, George Perez's wife. We have 2 new shirts that we'll be offering. These are the Pierre Cardin actor shirts before actor became the Hero Initiative. We'll be offering these 2 shirts on Friday. We'll also be offering these Sirens pages by George Perez. Now, the money from the actor shirts and all the money from the Sirens pages sold are all going to Carol Flynn, George's widow. We're also going to have 2 pages of Captain America by John Romita Jr. I'm sorry, 1 Captain America page by John Romita Jr. and 1 Avengers page by John Romita Jr. Also, we'll have 2 pieces of commission cover art. And also from Carol Flynn's collection, we will have this Nightwing limited edition incentive cover where DC used George Perez art for the incentive. And we are not selling this just yet. I'm trying to figure it out. I think I know what I'm doing. I'm going to show this. This is one of George's sketchbooks. You've got Golden Age Superman there on the cover. And then on the interior, you've got sketches and designs of characters. Truly historic. We'll show this on Friday. It won't be available on Friday the 10th. It'll be available in the future on the 17th. So, but I want to show it because I think we will all appreciate it. So, this Friday, March 10th, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on the Original Art Experience. Please tell your friends, help us grow the show, and hit that thumbs up. Thanks very much. See you Friday at 7.
There you go. Friday at 7. So, yeah, and that sketchbook looks pretty cool. Those Perez pieces were nice, right? I mean, lots of good stuff there. So tune in tomorrow if you got the time. And if not, you can always watch it on the rewind. I know a lot of people watch our shows after the fact as well. You can't always tune in and watch these things live. But all right, let's do the CAF update, right? It's we're kind of right on time, believe it or not, even with all the stuff going on. But let's see. As you know, I'm flying solo for the art portion of this, but I'll go through the regular stuff first. The dealers. Okay, period that we're covering was the 27th of February through the 5th of March. And it was in a very average week, again, for the dealers. Better than the week before. Remember, the week before, they only did $169,000 in sales. This time around, $179,000 in sales. So still down, but maybe, I don't know, everybody's traveling. Is it, you know, you've got the San Francisco show going on last weekend. You've got Comic Art Con on Sunday. Who knows? But yeah, definitely this 3 consecutive weeks of sub $200,000 in sales, which is, you know, that is definitely an aberration, but we'll see if it's a trend or not. Top sellers were Panel Page. They had 3 sales for $50,000 total. Anthony had 85 sales for $47,000 total. That's a definite different per piece average, isn't it? Then Romita Man, 40 sales, $42,000, and Tatiana had 16 sales and $14,000 in sales. Now, I know one of these pieces in the top 6 I don't have the image for, so I don't know what my son did when he put the video together because I didn't get a chance to look at these before we got things started. So we'll see how this all pans out. But the top selling item from last week was, of course, sold by Glenn at Panel Page, and it was the cover to Iron Man 157. Kupperberg and Layton on this beauty. And if you were collecting Iron Man back then, you know this cover very well. I love this. They came from outer space, Spores. Then next up is this Paul Ryan, Tom Palmer Avengers 312 cover by Glenn as well. Asking price on this one was $15,000. So there you go. That's pretty much all of Glenn's sales. This is the one that we don't have, and I guess my son just decided to leave it blank. It's an Olivier Coipel. This was the cover. I told him just to find the published one, but it was the cover to Spidey 2, and it went for $8,000, sold by Quan. Then we've got this Ramita Man sale. This was by Joe Jusko. This is one of those corner box arts pieces that he did, sold for $7,500. Love those, man. He did a great job on those corner box pieces. Then we got this Bagley Amazing Spider-Man 397 page, sold by Tatiana for $5,500. I wonder if that was a consignment or out of her personal collection. And finally, we've got this Jim Chung Mark Morales Infinity number 6, page 38. I think we saw this one at my get together, didn't we? I think Anthony bought that from somebody. He has it listed as an asking price of $5,000. So that one was sold as well. Let's see, what do we got here? So that was it. So down week for dealers again. I can't really tell you why, but again, maybe it's just traveling. Everybody's in a funk. I don't know, but there's got to be a lot of contributing factors, especially when we have all of these auctions going on at the same time. I mean, we talked about it. The thing was 2 weeks ago we had said we were going to do a $500 and under show on Wednesday. Because I said that I'm like, we got to do a cheap show. There's we've got the Heritage International, we've got Heritage Weekly going on. The Golden Auctions had stuff in it that I knew Mike wanted to bid on. And Comic Connect is next Monday. Hakes is coming up. I mean, you have all these auctions smashed in together that something's bound to give somewhere. So maybe we're seeing some of that with the dealer sales. We definitely see it with dueling dealers when you have so many things going on that it just you can't support it. There's only so much money to go around, right? It's you're kind of just beating yourself up trying to compete with everybody all the time. The only thing that discourages me is I wish people would just leave my Wednesday alone. We picked the Wednesday before everybody else, and it's just everybody seems to be gravitating towards our Wednesday. And Comic Link, right? Comic Link was the other one last night. So how do you compete with that? It's almost impossible. It's surprising we even got any sales yesterday. We almost didn't, right? We only had one sale each for each guy at the beginning of the recap, which is pathetic. But if we would have done a 500 and under show, probably would have been a little better. But anyway, I'll stop crying about that. Next up, auction results. What do we got for auction results? I think cheap is in Goose price range. How come Mike wasn't top with his make? What's that mean? How come he wasn't? Why didn't he finish with more? I mean, why would I think he didn't finish with more? Mostly because Anthony has so much more stuff to make offers on. I mean, I think Mike only had 60 offers made and Anthony had like 120. So Anthony had double the number of offers made, but he has that much more. I mean, Anthony has 24,000 pieces of art for sale on his site, whereas Mike has 2,500. So he's at a bit of a disadvantage there. And no offense, but I'm sure many people who were made deals with Mike without letting me know about it. I'm sure that happened. It happens. I don't care. But I'm sure when we did a show like that probably happens too. But the long and the short of it is, it's just the volume. Anthony crushed it in volume because he had twice as many offers as Mike had. So he certainly didn't do it on higher end pieces. It was just so much there that pushed him over the top. So it is what it is. Everybody was still happy. I mean, I think it was, I forget, what did that show end up? Around 80,000. So it's still good. Tatiana said it was a consignment piece. Yes, that makes sense, Chris. Thanks. And Anthony has cake. His cake and a lot of art. All right, over to the auction houses. Auction houses, pretty average. 316 the week before, 287 in this last week. So a bit of a downturn. I think for 4 consecutive weeks, the auction houses were all in that 310 to 320 range. So 287, it's just a little bit of a dip, but there just wasn't the higher items that we've seen in a lot of the heritage weeklies out there. Let's see. Oh, Peter says, I got the Fred Carrillo. Oh, that's awesome, Peter. That was, that was a really, really, really nice page. I'll be honest. I even thought about bidding on that one myself because it was nice, and I wasn't really familiar with Carrillo's war art, but that thing was gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Congratulations on that. I mean, see, it is a lot of fun digging around and finding pieces like that. I mean, stuff that just blows you away, and that was a really, really nice piece. Let's see, get Mike to start posting those Hotz pieces. I hear you, man. It's absolutely true. He has got so much Hotz art, it would fill a bin. And that's the God's honest truth. It would fill a bin, and it's stuff I know he hasn't even looked at, because they're actually, the majority of the Hotz art are in like those old 5 and dime bags, the paper bags that are flat before they stuff it. So they're stuffed with art, those just flat brown 5 and dime, drugstore kind of bags, and and taped over the top. I mean, I had to open them up just to look and see what was in them, and it was all I don't know if it was Hulk. I don't think it was Hulk. I didn't look at them all. There was too much of it. That was the problem. Yes, now it's a different kind of dime bag, Jeffrey, but and Anthony was, you guys, anyway. But if I ever make it up that way, I'll dig around and look at the Hotz work. I'll tell you what it is. But yeah, he's got a lot of it. Anyways, back to the auction houses. So we've got $287,150 for auction houses last week. eBay made up $115,000 of that. So that's really where the downside came in. eBay has been doing rather poorly because, as you know, I mean, I make commissions from eBay sales on a monthly basis, and I can look at the average sales from the art category, and I would say since early December, the sales on eBay have definitely been trending downward. They really don't have quality pieces popping up there anymore, and the volume is down as well. So my commissions have been down. So I definitely follow it. And I'd say probably about 25-30% would be down from what maybe the prior 3 to 6 month average would have been. So that's kind of significant, and usually it happens anyway around the holiday. Most e-commerce places pick up sales during like the December month, and then even after the New Year's, but eBay never really has. But yeah, so that's where they're at. So eBay dragged everything down, 287,000 total in sales. But some great pieces posted on eBay today, says Chuck. I'll have to look around. I hope there's no more Willingham Elementals art. But I guess I'll have to check and see. So here, let's take a look at the auction house top picks. So first 3 from eBay. Look at this one, everybody. Who would have guessed? In 1982, Arthur Adams drew a Farrah Fawcett drawing. Now, this piece says it sold for $3,499, but it actually sold for a make offer of $3,000. That's an early Art Adams for you right there. Next up, P. Craig Russell, Neil Gaiman's Norse Mythology cover. I know I've seen this piece around. I think I saw it over on Russell's site. This one sold for $2,495 on eBay. Then this nice Warriors of Plasm. This was actually an unpublished cover. Originally sticker price $2,000, was make offered at $1,700. And over to Heritage, the top 3 from them. First up is this Butch Guice Action Comics 684 page. This one sold for $20,400. Next up, Milton Caniff, Terry and the Pirates Daily from, I forget what year this was from. Is it on there? 23. And this one sold for $15,600. Not, a little racially insensitive, of course, in the last panel. And then finally, we've got this Dan DeCarlo piece from 1957. And will we get to see what the punchline is? Nah, it's too small. But that one sold for $6,600. So Foxy Ladies, says Rick Welch. I know. Isn't that, I know. And that was a very high price for a Warriors of Plasm ever. And it was unpublished, for crying out loud. I mean, isn't that weird? Yeah, I thought that was a little peculiar. But yeah, I can actually... those of you curious and you want to see that picture in more detail, there it is. It's in the chat. So Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, the Carlo stuff. I always love the DeCarlo stuff too. So there you have it. That was that's our recap as far as auction houses and the dealers go. Very mediocre week. I mean, between the two of them, with the 287 and the 179, I mean, barely. What was it, like 460 around? So that's a pretty down week. I mean, we're very used to seeing $600,000-$700,000 in sales typically, between both marketplaces technically, and yeah, that's not a good week at all, but is what it is. And I know it's not even a laugh. I know it's very, very weird. What does Mark Fong say? eBay's auto import tax baked in the final price turnoff. I know there's a lot of issues with eBay going on right now. It is what it is. I mean, they had their day in our category, and they are definitely on the waning side of things. So it is okay. It is okay. And I love that Dan DeCarlo too. I would love to pick up a piece of that caliber one day, just to have a great example by Dan. I actually I have an Archie Sunday strip from Dan DeCarlo. I bought it for my father, so it's really still at my mom's house. I mean, it very much was a thing that reminded me of my father. It was a Jughead gag where he's laying in front of the TV, and they can't wake him up, and he's watching the TV. So they're banging drums and pots and pans, and he's just snoring through it. But the moment they change the channel, that's when he wakes up and says, "I was watching that." So that was my father to a T. And I that was honestly, that was probably one of the first pieces I picked up my first year collecting. I saw that and I was like, my dad needs that, because that was the thing, the joke all the time. He'd fall asleep in front of the couch after his doing his thing. We had a lot of odd jobs growing up, and every time you would change the channel on the TV, he would wake up and say that very same thing. So yeah, so there you go. I always forget about that piece. The only Dan DeCarlo I've ever owned. All right, so let's go into the picks now. I don't have Chris with me, so hopefully we'll go through these a little quicker, since I'm flying solo. And honestly, I am getting a little beat here, considering I've been on since 8 a.m. But Chuck, your dad did it too. I think everybody's dad did that, right? I mean, how? They were wizards, that they just knew when you changed the channel on them. So, all right, let's see. Let me get this screen shared, and we can look over some stuff. And hey, might as well get that Cockrum page out of the way early. I mentioned this is in Mr. Wingo's calf gallery from the Kitty Fairy Tale storyline. If you're an X-Men fan like myself, and you love Dave Cockrum, I mean, this was one of many people's favorite stories that Dave did with Claremont, and this inked by Rubenstein. And it's just awesome. It was always a fun story, great art. I mean, this is one of those stories I've probably read at least 24 times, because it's just fun. It was such a whimsical thing, and Kitty telling a wonderful, wonderful, fun story. So congrats to Scott on that pickup. I think he was pretty happy. You can see he can put a little emoji in his description. When you do that, you're happy. So I didn't even read it as much as he says he's been waiting for a page like this for a long time. So there you go. I mean, it's worth the wait. So I guess I have to think about that in terms of my elemental art now. And look, Mikhail was the first person to compliment him on that. And James asked, well, they know good art when they see it. And this one's, really, 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 really nice. I love that story. Congrats to Scott on that one. Now over to Tony S. This is a page from Long Shot, and it's from number 6, page 11. I mean, anything, all I need to see is a Long Shot page, and the nostalgia kicks in right away. I just loved Long Shot when it came out, and for me, it's an introduction to Art Adams. Definitely there's no foxes on this one, right? But this is just great stuff. And did you mention who? Let's see, what do we got here? Okay, yeah, because I think they always had different inkers on here. So this one, he's got Protasio and Williams credited as inkers on this piece, but just great stuff. I mean, Mojo, you get those last 2 panels are killer. So yeah, wow. So congrats to Tony on that one. That is a very, 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 very nice pickup. And I'm very envious. I've never owned a Long Shot page, and I mean, it's like you always think you can get one, or you'll be able to pick one up one day, and I don't think I've ever really have I ever even held a long shot page. I don't think I have. So I've probably never seen one in person. I mean, maybe it's been on a back wall somewhere, but oh well, one day maybe I'll get one. So then next up, this is in Derek Crabb's Calf Gallery, and I picked this one. I mean, there's so much great art from Crisis, right? I mean, this is from Crisis on Infinite Earths, issue 12, right towards the end. Just awesome stuff. But oh, look at I didn't even bother to see. You got a picture. This is, hey, look, Derek had short hair before. He's look how young he looks in this picture. But at any rate, it was a really, I remember seeing this post. I mean, I could read through all this. You can see Derek wrote a lot, and deservedly so. He was really happy to add a piece of like this to his collection. And this is a series that I read, and I didn't even read DC, so I didn't even know the backstory on any of the characters. But Perez was drawing it, and that was all I needed to know. And it was just a phenomenal story, of course. And for Derek, I mean, this was like a dream come true, right? And for us as collectors, those opportunities and those moments in your collecting career don't happen all that often, right? They just don't. I mean, you buy stuff you like. I mean, I can look at those 2 Cochran pieces. I love them. I'm happy to have them. I really am. I'd sell them in a heartbeat for in a minute if I could have a published page by Dave, right? But those really moments that feel where you're kind of define something in your collection, but you're by picking up a piece that means a lot to you. That happened here for Derek, and I had to feature it because I love that. I love the story behind the reason people pick up some pieces, and this one had a great one. So congrats, Derek, on that one. Let's see. Then let's see. I've got this Dick Dillon, Frank McLaughlin piece, and I don't know DC, but I really like this page, and I can't even really tell you why. I mean, I love the composition of the last panel. It's a 2/3 splash, everybody. But just everything about this. I mean, it's just fun. I mean, Justice League. I mean, if I ever was maybe potentially interested in reading things from DC that was outside of Crisis or Teen Titans by Perez, it was Justice League, and probably in part because I'd seen Perez's work on it too. But again, I just like this page a lot. It was fun when I was going through. I always try to at least pick up a few DC pages out of my picks, and so this was one of my favorites from the set. Metron, yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a tie there to something we sell on Dueling Dealers, I think. Then this one was in ML's Calf Gallery. I like this one because we just got to talk to Steve Rude last Saturday, and this is a Steve Rude penciled, Carl Kessel inked World's Finest page. And Steve is awesome, right? I mean, his art's so unique. You can kind of pick his style out anywhere. I wish he did more work for the big two, because he's suited for it. But of course, he likes to he blazes his own trail, and more power to him, right? But I think you look at a page like this. I mean, I love this. I mean, I love the storytelling in this piece. And Kessel did a great job inking it. I mean, it's just incredible. And I'm sure Mikhail felt that way too when he saw it. I mean, could not pass it up, I imagine. But this is really, really nice. Really, really nice. And again, I wish Rude would have done more work. I mean, for Batman and Superman, I mean, he was meant to draw those characters. So congrats, Mikhail. This one I picked up. It's a War of the Worlds piece. I don't know Enrique Alvim Correa. Never heard the name, but this is it's a very early illustration. And I remember the guy was very happy about picking up this piece. And again, I always try to talk about pieces like this being shown on CAF. I love it when we get to see a piece like this, especially something that's as old as this, 115 years old. So just cool to see, cool to know that this stuff still exists. And it's a nice piece. It looks all pencil. I imagine he's got it written. Yeah. Oh, he has pen and ink. Huh. I would never guess that based on the scan, but it looks all pencil to me. But anyway, nice to see stuff like that. I love it. I love sci-fi stuff. This it says is from the 1906 Belgian version. Anyway, so he says H.G. Wells preferred Correa's illustrations and most matched what his visions were. So hey, I mean, a cool piece. Congrats to Mel Higgins for adding that to their calf. I'm going to put a like on that one. I haven't done that on anything yet. Then this one's been talked about a little bit. I know it was posted on Facebook. John Gardner picked this piece up. It's an early Bernie Wrightson piece that he did for the Baltimore Sun or something like that. I forget the year, 68, 67. I don't recall. But, cool to see something like this, right? I mean, does it have the year on there? It's before Bernie put the E back on his name, of course. But cool to see. I mean, again, an early piece, pre-comic work, but it's just nice to have historical pieces like this out there. So there you go. I picked 2 pieces with historical significance, one from an artist we know and another we didn't know. So let me get my like on that one. So congrats to John on that one. I think you got it for a very fair price as well. Then, hey, I picked this one because it has a tentacle in it, everybody. And you know that Jim D'Amico is not going to know about the sketchbook theme. So I figured I'd show it to everybody tonight. It's a Barbarella. I mean, come on, Barbarella and tentacles go hand in hand, don't they? But this is a really nice, I mean, illustration-wise, this is great. Composition on this thing is fantastic by Danny, of course. Let's kind of zoom in on it, but it's a great illustration. And Barbarella, I mean, come on, it's every 1970 ish guy's fantasy, I think, in some weird way. But yeah, I like the piece, like the illustration. Let's see, it says the original art cover to Barbarella 1 from 2021, variant cover, and it's nice. I love it. And a tentacle. Somebody should tell D'Amico we should put this into the sketchbook for this upcoming month. For this month, not upcoming month. All right, now this piece I cheated. I hate to tell you that. This thing was added on Sunday of the week before. This is in Mickey's calf gallery, Mickey Anamentadu, as everybody knows. I just thought this piece was incredible. The way the blacks are on this page, and I wish I could just kind of get the whole thing in there at one time, but I can't. I was just very taken by this piece. Tom Mandrake, and it's just awesome. So it's Mandrake pencils and inks. You know, there's bits of colon feel to it, but I just love. I mean, it's obviously the costume kind of carries it through, but the use of blacks in this artwork was so damn good. When I started my hunt for my 10 pieces, and this was in Sunday, I was like, screw it, I'm picking it, even though it's not part of the part of this week's set. I'm gonna go for it anyway because I liked it so much. It just everything about it. I mean, the way her character is frames out the other characters on the page. Yeah, between her legs, around her thigh over here, and then on the other side, beneath the cape. I mean, everything. This is just a pretty dang cool page. And what is it from? Because I don't even know. It's Shadowlast, Secret Origins 8. I don't know anything about it. It's a Legion character, right? That's about as far as I go. But Nick said it right there. This is so beautiful. It absolutely is. Because, yeah, I mean, I couldn't pass this one up. So let me put my like on that one. Congrats, Mickey, on that one. Mickey's probably had this one for a couple of years because he's always digging stuff out of portfolios to add to calf. And here you go. I know Marcus was razzing me on this in the chat before the show even started. I did pick a color guide for the background image of this week's thumbnail for the show, and I did it because, well, we don't pick color guides typically as art to feature. And I thought this one was really nice, right? I mean, it's from a George Perez Justice League cover. I was just mentioning that I looked at Justice League because of George, but it's cool. And this is, let me get my like on this thing here. But of course, it's in Mr. Norton's calf gallery, who's very popular on YouTube, as we all know. But again, it's just cool. I like the colors on it, and I don't know if it matches the final published piece exactly, but a nice thing. And again, something we don't talk about too often on here is color guides, and they're becoming more and more popular. You know what we've seen. Hakes has sold some complete issues to some early X-Men Burn sets of color guides. So, I mean, I think we've seen some Miller Daredevil color guides sell for pretty decent amounts as well. And yes, Brian Norton, Mr. Red Jack in the chat, everybody. This is in Brian's calf gallery. So congrats on this one, Brian. And I was glad to see it because I typically don't pick color guides, but I like this one a lot. Alrighty, now I think we're going over to the picks from Mr. Snork. And again, look forward to having Chris back in a few weeks. And he will be on the road next week. He's going to be in Germany, so Kevin Sharp will be my co-host on the picks for next week. But first up, there's this Jim Lee X-Men commission in Miggs Calf Gallery, and this thing is just huge. So I mean, if you're a fan of Jim's work, and I know many of us are, I mean, you look at something like this, holy mackerel. I can't even imagine how cool this thing would be to have. I mean, it deserves to be on a wall, right? So I didn't even know what year it was. It was done in 2012. It's signed there, but this is amazing. As an X-Men fan, and I know Miggs has a fair amount of X-Men art in his calf gallery. This is it's a stunner, and it doesn't matter if it's published or not. This thing is unbelievable. So I'm sure Miggs, if he got this in the mail the day he opened it, his jaw was probably on the table. So congrats, Miggs. I mean, you just added another great piece of artwork to your calf gallery. He says that he's seeing again. Always comes back to friends. Everybody says thanks to my pals Ryan and Josh, who were generous beyond measure. I still can't believe this is in my possession. And it's stuff like this too. It's commission. It's something that wasn't published, brought into the world. Maybe Jim did this on his own. More than likely, it was done for a cause, maybe a charity or somebody actually commissioned him to do these. Thankfully, a piece like this is out there, available to be had. So it's a testament to people in the hobby. If there weren't buyers of this stuff, artists wouldn't be making them. And we should all be thankful that stuff like this is out there. And it is signed by Stan once in the middle there, but I didn't even notice that when I was looking at it. But not too bad. Look, very light. That's why I didn't even notice it. And wait a minute. Okay, so this thing was done. I didn't read the description. Look at that. That's because this is a pick by Snork. 2012, 2002, and 2008. So this was done over a period of time. So I don't have time to read the story. I bet, well, there isn't one. So we don't know what the story is on this, but maybe if you knew who the previous owners, somebody else out there knows. Chuck says he thinks it was on Heritage, but it's interesting why it was done over a period of time. So that would lead me to believe that it was actually somebody commissioning Jim to do this. And very interesting. Now I want to know more. Miggs probably has the backstory on that one. So next up, this is in Corey Green's calf gallery. 8 Billion Genies, number 3. See, now this is a piece that I know that Mr. Snork could talk about at length. I don't know what 8 Billion Genies is. It's a 5th printing, so it's obviously was pretty popular. This is art by Ryan Brown from let's see, it looks like the Quisp guy, but I see a lot of bats here. It's a nice composition, but man, this is where Mr. Snork would be able to illuminate us on the pick here. I mean, it's cool, it's different. I'm sure it stood out as a thumbnail. It's done. It's all ink wash. I mean, I don't know. There's lots of bats in it. Chuck says it's a newer series. Okay, yeah, I'm not familiar with it at all, but it's kind of cute in its own way. I don't know anything about it, but this is a pickup by Corey Green, a member of CAF. Almost. He'll be celebrating his 8th anniversary with the site in April. So go over and check out. I can't think of other stuff I've seen in Corey's calf gallery. Let's see what he's featuring over here. He is also interested. Wow, he's got a Martin Simmons piece. That is nice. And Deladera, Magnola. Oh, got a lot of nice art in their calf. Oh, John Paul Leone. Whew. All right, I'm going to set this one aside so I can look at what he's got in his calf later. All right, next piece in Mike A's calf gallery, a C.C. Beck spot. Let's see, what is it done for? Does it say no description? Fights the Waterman. I mean, it's C.C. Beck. I mean, that by itself makes it worthwhile. It says it originally appeared so this is some kind of a recreation, panel recreation of some kind, maybe, or strip recreation. Can't tell, but it's C.C. Beck. I mean, it's stunning. I mean, I would, I've never owned anything by C.C. Beck. I would love to have a piece like this. It's probably fairly priced for what it is, and I mean, C.C. Beck stuff is just, you don't see too many published strips out there too often for sale on the market. This is a really nice piece, probably all lettered by him as well. So a very nice pickup. And again, whose calf gallery was this? It's Mike A. I don't think I've ever been in. Look at that. He's got his eBay ID is unstoppable. Jason, somebody is tackling your moniker, my friend. Unstoppable 99. And I agree, Gary. CC Beck has great art. I mean, I'm not a big DC guy, but this is nice. And I've always CC Beck stuff has always had a nice feel to it. It's just clean. It's cartoony. I mean, I think it's from a wonderful era. All right, what do we got here? Another piece. Oh yeah, this one, Albert Weinberg. Now this one it's a Dan Cooper Target page. Not familiar with this at all, but similar to that Weird War piece that I pointed out that Peter picked up. I mean, this is really, really, really well done. I wish we could actually zoom in on it because I'm assuming nope. A fan of the planches, of course. We can't zoom in on it because they're not premium, but this is a very, very nice illustration. I love that. What's cool is on this one, I mean, the art, obviously, as an illustration, all the panels are fantastic, but the way the panels are drawn, they're kind of bowed, they're not straight. I mean, I don't know if that was done just to kind of give it a feel of kind of haphazardness because of this dogfight or whatever that's going on here, or the problems that happening in his plane. But it's kind of warping here at the top, and then look at these two in this middle row are completely haphazard. And then the way the panels are drawn here in the last two panels with these kind of jagged edges and stuff. I mean, that's there's some interesting storytelling going on there. I mean, I can't say that I've seen a page done like this hardly ever before. So yeah, I agree, Chris. Very tremendous draftsmanship. And Peter Rowe mentions it's a French artist. So yeah. See, I took Spanish in high school. I did not take French, but no, this is a fantastic piece, and I'm actually gonna save that one because Albert Weinberg is not somebody whom I'm familiar with. All right, we got about 6 more pieces to go here in the collection of BY. Yeah. Oh, and hey, for those of you who noticed, I will bring this up. Mikhail, you were the first commenter on this. It was about 2 days ago. Maureen we were working on some programming on the site, and we were massaging a table that had the country information in it. So some people did notice that, say, if you were set to United States as a country, as BY is, you may have noticed that you got temporarily associated with the United Kingdom. And what happened was as we were modifying the country database, every country has a corresponding number in the table. Well, everything shifted one, so everybody who was U.S. shifted to United Kingdom. Well, a couple people caught it, and so they reset themselves to the United States. Well, when it was brought to my attention, I went back to Maureen and said, "Hey, I think we shifted something. Can you fix it?" So she shifts it back, and then so the people who actually shifted from UK to US, then they shifted the other way, and then they became associated with Uruguay. So for those of you who experienced something similar and saw that, it is completely our fault. We apologize profusely for that, and you weren't losing your mind. You did get shifted around, and if you actually fixed it, you got shifted around a second time. So we do apologize for that, but it was just something we missed. And because we're updating some programming related to your profiles and whatnot, and live and learn, we make mistakes from time to time, but thanks to everybody who pointed it out. So now in their gallery, what do we got here? A Nick Darrington Batman and Robin piece. Now, is this published, or is it's listed as an illustration? I've been looking for all pencil piece from Nick for a while, and this piece resonated with me. I love the energy of his pencils and the life his rendering brings to the characters. And I would agree. I like Darrington's work a lot. I mean, look at the detail in this is actually even better than what I was expecting. I hadn't looked at the close-up yet, but yeah, man, the tonal work he's done here, all in pencils, is great. I mean, even if we focused just on Batman and Robin, I mean, the work there is pretty damn fantastic. But then when you take in the cityscape behind them, wow. I mean, Nick put a lot of work into this baby. Dang, that is nice. That is really nice. I mean, I'm sure everybody agrees. This is really, really, really well done. Gosh, I love this. All right, and I'll be, Nick's stuff. I mean, I've seen stuff of Nick's that I'm not super crazy about, and other things that I just love. And this piece right here, I really, really like this. And I can see why he was mentioning looking for a pencil piece. I mean, I can think of a lot of his. I don't know how this would have looked if he would have inked it, but in pure pencils, this thing is great. So congrats on that pickup. And a couple more pieces here. Jeffrey Chang. Marcus got the first comment on this one. It's a Weapon X by Joe Quesada. What do we got here? Just, well, Joe did a lot of work with Wolverine over the years, and this is, I mean, what was this for? I mean, was this published? See, I didn't do my research here. It's a commission piece. All right. And received as part of so he got this part of a Joe Quesada experience at Fan Expo in San Francisco last year. Well, that's cool. As we know, a lot of people, a lot of artists have been doing more of these experience things of late, and clearly he scored this through one of those at a show. It's always a good opportunity, right? When you have the ability to pay a little extra money to go along with your ticket to a show, and you actually get a piece of art like this to go along with it. That's not too bad. So hopefully he should have got a photo with Joe or something too. Doesn't have that posted here though. Nick thinks it's a killer Quesada. I agree. I have actually and Nick would know. Nick loves Quesada's work, but I've actually never owned anything by Quesada. This would be something I wouldn't mind, being an X-Men fan. But nicely done, nice pickup, and I'm glad you got it through a con visit too as an upgrade. Let's see, Jewel Ka T. So hey, look at that 10th anniversary from Canada for Jewel. And what do we got here? It's a Butch Guice Eradicator, and this is really it's pretty nice actually. Black and white, got some dry brush stuff going on in here. It looks like Kirby Crackle lighting is pretty spectacular. You get the 90s visor on him. Nice piece as far as this looks like it was done in 2023, so a recent commission. Where would you pick this up? Does it say? No. No, it does not. Okay, probably at a show, I would imagine, but no, a very nice piece. I love Butch Guice. As everybody knows, I was fortunate enough, somebody gifted me a piece of Butch Guice art, a Tarna piece last year, and I'm forever grateful for that. I mean, I love his current work. I love his early work too, but I just think the stuff that he's done in the last 4 or 5 years, just really unique, and I love his approach to stuff. This is a dynamic composition. Everything about it is sweet. Let's see, what is this? I think Guice just took his first commission list. That's interesting. Wow. How did I not hear about that? Did he take it through Dave Carlin? I know Dave sells his published stuff, or did he do it on his own? Because I would think Dave Carlin would have put some PR out if he did it that way. Maybe not. But Dave Carlin is, if you didn't know, Dave actually took his site down at the end of the year. He's just decided to sell through CAF now. So he always had that one page website, and which serviced him. I think it was good to have a point of presence out there to have his contact information and everything on it. But he told me in January he was thinking about shutting it down, and so he did end up shutting it down. So did Dave take it on the CGC forums, or did Butch do it on his own? I'm just curious. So next time I can find out about it, so I can actually try to get one. Anyway, nice pickup here. Congrats to our 10-year anniversary member. Well, let's see. Well, there you go, Martin. Martin's the name, but Jewel is the name they've got on their CAF account. So 3 pieces left here. And Steve Crizier. Steve is going to, I'll tell you everybody, Steve is one person who is going to get one of those gifted premium memberships. And I have to apologize to the anonymous donor of the 10 premium memberships. Chris and I did come up with a list that had 6 people on it. Steve is one of those people. And, Steve, look, he's been a member of CAF since 2007, and he has never been premium. And I love Steve. Steve's a great guy. He has incredible artwork in his CAF gallery, but he's got such great stuff, and it should be bigger. That's the thing that sucks. So when Chris and I were talking, I said, I don't care who you pick, Chris, but I'm dishing one of the 10 out to Steve. So Steve is going to get he's going to get a premium membership. Yeah, I haven't told him yet, but if he watches the show, then he'll know. But yeah, it's long overdue, Steve, and think about renewing it after it expires. But I will make sure that you get it in the next week. Hopefully, I'll be able to dish out the ones that Chris and I picked already. Kazra says someone buy Steve a scanner. Well, he won't buy himself a premium membership, so of course he's not going to buy himself a scanner. But yeah, we'll work that out. Kazra, let me surprise Steve with that, Kazra. Don't tell him I'm going to do it. But anyways, okay, over to this. Enrique Alcatena. This is, look at it. This is so awesome, but I wish we could see the dang thing in a lot more detail, because look at the detail in the inking on this thing is amazing. This is like something that could have been done 300 years ago. The way this thing is done, it looks like it could be a print, right? Albert Dürer could have made this thing. It's stunning, and we don't get to see it in all the detail that I'd like. And this is kind of why Steve needs to become premium, because he's got a lot of stuff like this in his CAF, and we don't get to see it in all of its glory. The brickwork on here is amazing. We can joke about bricks all we want, but these are, look at the different quality of bricks in this thing. Whether it's in the bricks are in the dark, they're lit by some bizarre light source here. But gosh, you've got some Escher stuff going on in here in the top that just makes it's mind-boggling. This piece. Gosh, this is one hell of a piece of art. So when I email Steve and let him know he's a premium member after I put it on his account, I'm going to tell him he has to update this piece first. So, what was it from? Legends of the Dark Knight Annual 5. Let's see here. I can't even click on it. It's too small. All right. Anyway, so congrats to Steve on that one. 2 more to go here, and then I'm calling it a night because I am whooped. Kyle Blackwell, Gabriel Dell'Otto. We were just talking about Gabriel Dell'Otto earlier when Joe was on. This is obviously a Nova piece from Annihilation, Nova 1 cover by Dell'Otto. He is pretty damn fantastic. He and Simone are probably 2 of my favorite painters out there today in comics, and here you can see why. There's a lot of dynamic stuff going on in here. Some of this reminds me of Sienkiewicz when I really super dug Sienkiewicz's work. I still do, but there's some cool stuff going on here, like that Joker piece we looked at that's in the international auction right now. He's just so dang talented. This is a killer piece. And Kyle Blackwell, you are one lucky son of a gun here. Yeah, nice pickup, Kyle. Final piece here. And look at this. We have a Mandalorian piece, and we've got no Baby Yoda in here, everybody. And it's still a winner. Now, what is this from? The Mandalorian original soundtrack album cover art from 2019. And artist is Paul Mann. And let's see here. And this is what's in Hans CAF gallery. Of course, makes sense. But great illustration. This is fun, right? This is almost like a 1970s spaghetti western piece, right? It's done in that style, the color palette. Yeah, I really like this piece, and I maybe like it a little bit more without having the Yoda in it. But I mentioned earlier, I love the Mandalorian. Has been a really fun show. Out of all the stuff, I tried watching Andor. I did not like it. I know a lot of people were like, "You're supposed to like Andor as much as you like Mandalorian." I tried, everybody. I could not get into it, but yeah, this is great. Very representative of the series, of course. Second one, and yeah, I like it. I definitely like it. Han P. Yes, exactly. There you go. So I don't know. I don't have a whole lot to say about it other than it's a very nice piece, and I do like the the spaghetti Western palette on this as well, because it's fun. Those yellows, that's what makes it. So, all right. So Marcus has spoken. Would make a great T-shirt, says Rick Welch. It would. I mean, look at that. I mean, that is it. It is a really nice illustration. But Paul Mann. I mean, I'm not familiar with Paul Mann. Only 12 pieces on calf. And what do we got? So a lot of well, okay. So there you go. It makes sense. He's done some work for in Indiana Jones. We got some other Mandalorian, Star Wars pieces, a Walking Dead. Prisoner piece. So yeah, I mean, nice stuff. So you must be primarily in illustration for books, I guess. I mean, that one thing was a soundtrack cover. So, anyway, no, I'm not familiar with Paul Mann. I mean, and I should be, I guess, for all this, all this stuff in illustration. Anyway, there you go. Everybody's thinking of how we can put that on coffee mugs or T-shirts, but yeah, all that stuff looked great. Jeff Moyes, I know Jeff. And listen, I saw and look, I'm out of focus again. Dang this! I hate this camera. It's really bothering me. We're gonna have to fix that one of these days. Get a new one. But I'm gonna, it is what it is. But Jeff, I was gonna say you were the one that at first I wasn't even gonna watch Andor because, come on, you stinking. Anyway, all right, I'm not gonna lean into the camera, so I'm gigantic. Everybody says Andor is awesome. I'm sorry. I watched the whole thing. I really did. I watched every episode. I just didn't like it. So, and I tried. Anyway, I'm calling it a night. The camera wants me to quit. One of these days, I'm going to buy a new one, a better one. But I wish this dang thing would stop autofocusing whenever it wants to. The camera's tired too. But listen, everybody, I appreciate you hanging out with me for almost 3 hours tonight. I missed having Chris here as my wingman. We will definitely, get by without him for the next couple weeks, but I look forward to having him back. Kevin Sharp will sit in for him next week. Looking forward to hanging out with him. And as everybody knows, tune into the EXP tomorrow at 7 o'clock. And as for me, I have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off. And then after that, I've got a very, very busy weekend. Remember, Joe Phillips on Monday. Please tune in, even just to say hi. Joe would appreciate it, as would I. That's going to be a fun show. We'll be talking a little bit about the Hero Initiative and the work that they've done to help Joe out over the last few years as well. And it's going to be a good show. So enjoy your weekend. And thank you so much for tuning in. If you tuned into both my shows today, I sincerely appreciate it. Have a great night, and I'll see you again soon.